Hey guys, Keith Keller, Melbourne, Australia, and I'm pretty sure we're live. So I'll let that run. I'll fix the bits at the start. It's always a bit sloppy when you go live, and that's part of the fun, really. So this is a Monday here for me. Technically, Buy Me a Coffee Monday, which I used to do and have done for 2 or 3 years. We're just going to have a bit of a chat about live streaming and getting everyone a sound check. We've got some big shows coming up this week. I'll just work you through what we've got planned. This one is indeed called the Social Audio Sound Check, and that's pretty cool. Tomorrow, I've got a live streaming for beginners show, which I'm really excited about. I've had about 150 people register for that show. That's going to be a really cool show where we're going to talk about lots of different, mainly Restream, but we're also going to talk about the competitor products. We have a big Go Brunch 101 show on Tuesday in the US and Brazil. And Richard's going to talk about these really cool features. We might talk about a bit of that today. If you do have some questions in the audience and you're in the audience, just add the questions to the chat and I'll see those. In fact, there are some comments there already. Kenny's there already sharing or savoring the flavor. So that's pretty cool. Never miss a comment. Please comment here on LinkedIn. And we also may have some shows going to other networks as well. And if you want to find out what all the fuss is about, where is Keith today? We'll tell you exactly where I am. Today is Monday in Australia, and it's Buy Me a Coffee Monday. So go to buymeacoffeemonday.com if you want to find out more about what I'm doing. But let's have some fun with the guys. We'll bring it back to a sort of a group chat. Everyone gets a turn, and I'm just going to see if I can find a format where everyone looks the same. Maybe this one. Richard, I'm really fascinated. Let's start with you. We've got a show this week called Go Brunch for Beginners. A lot of people haven't heard of the site, and it's unbelievable. Tell us about it, and tell us about those three new features you've got coming up.
Hey Keith, good to see you. Hello, Ollie. Hello, Chris. Hello, everyone who's listening here. Hi, Kenny. Good to see you. Hello, Patricia, Borges, and hello, Cynthia. Good to see you guys. Yeah, I just shared with Keith today. We rolled it out I think it was last week, a very cool feature that is called Picture in Picture. Picture in Picture allows you to have a kind of an audio event style if you're not in your Go Brunch tab. Imagine that you are working on something. You always have like a small window where you can see, just like as an audio event, traditional audio event with the circles, with small circles, you can see all your participants. And doesn't matter which tab that you are or which window that you are, you can still see them, right? And it's very cool for many different use cases. First one, you can share your screen and then you can see your participants at the same time, right? Which is not something common in the browser. The second one is, especially if you have like a community, right? And if you are just talking to people like during the day, you don't have like boundaries of time, you can just, switch to a different tab. And while switching to a different tab, you still can see everyone and you can interact with everyone. Say, hey, Kenny, you're still here, right? And even if your mic is off, right, you can turn it on if you see someone joining your room. That's a really cool feature. I just want to start with this one. Later on, we can talk more about online friends.
Yeah, no worries. I love this idea too. So we're going to talk at great length about Go Brunch virtual rooms. These are a game-changing tech that allow you to do these live events which simulate real life, and that's very, very important in the post-COVID era. So we got a big room tonight, and this is very, very cool. So My name is Keith, and I'm in Melbourne, Australia. Chris is a good mate of mine from New Jersey. He's also using Restream and a few of the other tech. Tell us about your show and how you're using Restream and Go Brunch and these sorts of techs, and why it actually really has changed the way we even communicate with the world, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely changed the way we communicate with the world. My show is called Global Pulse Social Audio, and it's eventually going to kind of turn into a continuation of a combination of my thoughts from both my Medium outlet and my newsletter here on LinkedIn, where it's just going to be 5 topics every week. Real talk, just no holds barred. Everybody get together and say what you actually got to say in a way, since it will be broadcast on LinkedIn. That is professional enough that won't cost anybody their jobs, but just have some commentary on stuff that's going on with AI, stuff that might be going on with healthcare, stuff that might be going on around the world. Just some pressing topics that people really want to talk about. And what I'm doing is I'm using Restream with Keith and this amazing group that we've joined, the Social Audio Leadership Club, and we're restreaming these broadcasts and we're supporting one another. So our message is we're amplifying one another. Like, so for instance, I'll be on Keith's show supporting Keith, talking about the things that Keith's are interested in here, and then hopefully we'll be reciprocating on each other's shows and getting our message out and helping each other out, and just showing the world what community is all about on multiple different platforms at the same time.
I love it. And let me just pick up on why this is really important. We you may or may not know it's February now, of course, and in January LinkedIn Audio went away. Now this is becoming a little bit of a tired story, but some people still don't know it. And what we did was we tried to work out ways to get a replica of this amazing format that we had called LinkedIn Audio Events. So I've been searching the world for these products, and I found 2: Restream, which I love, and Go Brunch, which I love. And so tomorrow I'm going to do a really power session on live streaming for beginners using Restream. And then on Wednesday, Tuesday in the US, I'm actually going to do a Go Brunch special edition, and we're going to talk about these 2 really amazing features that can somewhat replicate what we've lost with LinkedIn Audio Events. We had an amazing idea, and it's gone. And we're now trying to find a way to replace it with something that is equally good. What do you think, Ollie? Is this something that is similar enough to LinkedIn Audio Events to make sense, or what have you been doing in sort of the wake of the LinkedIn Audio evacuation? The sort of feeling of sadness that we all have that it's gone.
Well, before I reply to the question, thank you again, Keith, for inviting me, and also hi, Chris and Richard, and hello, Kenny, and all the audience. It's such a blessing to be there. So Go Brunch is amazing. I was discovering Go Brunch through Margaret in December, and the more I spend time on it, the more I'm in awe. And during few weeks, I've seen lots of new features and improvements. So it's really active and boiling of great ideas, and it's more than a space. It's more than a visual. It's more than a room where we can share. It's also a community. Each 3 months, so the next time will be on March, there is a World Building Expo. And it's about meeting all the community. And each week there are 4 to 8 different events organized by Bez, by RJ, by Stacy, by many people from the community. Whether it's about having a coffee chat or talking about important subject, for me, it's about language coaching, to hold the space so that the learners can improve their French. And it's also a Café du Bien, a session. I organize this session not only for me, but also for welcoming the space, for being able to speak about quite everything. And what I like is the improvement. Upfront, when I was discovering Go Brunch through the World Building Expo, I was meeting someone like Claudio, who is having the add-on Brunch Magic. And so when we talk about communities, when we see members there to improve what already exists, and then when we see a founder like Richard with an amazing team behind who is open for anything, who is reachable, who is there quite almost each day, like is there a day that Richard is not on the space? That's amazing. So that's really what it's outstanding. If I have something, a feedback or a bug or whatever, I can send a message to Richard. And I know that he's really caring. And we should have the same with Restream. We should have the same for any platform. Obviously, platforms like Zoom, like Google Meet, whatever, you are sending probably feedbacks, but you don't know if they are going to read, if they are going to acknowledge. So that's why Go Brunch is really incredible. My heart, boom, 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 is beating on Go Brunch, and I'm forever grateful. That's it. I am yielding the mic.
I
now.
love it, Richard. You're getting a bit of kudos here. This is good. Go Brunch really stands out to me as a site that really does focus on customer service. How do you do it? How do you maintain this rhythm where you can respond so quickly and so well to your clients?
First of all, thank you, Ali, for your kind words. I really appreciate that. How do I do that? I don't know, Keith. I think this is something that I have been doing for years, even before Go Brunch. I think I have a sort of a trauma. When I was a kid, I was traveling with my parents, and I think we had like the worst customer service from Pan Am. I don't know if you guys remember Pan Am, right? Pan Am was like an airlines in the United States. I think headquarters was in New York. And I don't know, just stayed with me. Like at some point, if I have a company, I just want to make difference, right? I just want to make people feel safe. People feel like there is someone listening to them, right? And that's probably the reason why I'm always open and listening to everyone. Because yes, but by the time that someone trusts, right, it's not easy for you to get a trust of a person. By the time that you get a trust of a person, I just want them to feel like, okay, this is reciprocal. And of course, I love this sense of community, as Lolly was mentioning, right? As much as I can be part of it as well, right? Just not as the user itself, but I want to be part of it, right? That's why I created Go Brunch, because I want to be part of it.
I love it. And what if you haven't listened to my show before, and we do have quite a few listeners, please jump in and ask some questions. We're going to talk a lot about multi-streaming. What does that actually mean? If you do have any questions, please ask them in the chat, and I'd really love to feature you on the chat. And if you do indeed want to come up on stage, DM me. That does mean that we need to be connected, but I'm very open to be connected. So please DM me and I'll send you the link. We can have up to 10 people on stage and we can create quite a few miracles that way. Patricia is in Sao Paulo, and that's pretty cool. Cynthia Main is listening. Chris is here, of course, and he's commenting on the back channel. Thanks for being here, everyone. What's your take on this, Chris? Can you give us a bit of a skinny on what the difference for you is for Restream, say, and also maybe Go Brunch? What do you think?
Right. So it's not that I necessarily see that there's a difference. The biggest difference to me is, like, I love Go Brunch, but I like bringing it there for when people are shy or don't want to be recorded, or are, want to be able to say what they can say, really want to say, without fear of retribution from an employer or something like that. So LinkedIn for me, just because I've built so much of my audience here and I haven't migrated it over to a place where I can get it to a platform like Go Brunch just yet. I've integrated it. If you haven't seen it yet, I've actually integrated it into my website, my co-working space. So if you go to my website, I'm just a guy from Jersey.com. What I'm plan on doing is after next week is doing my after events in Go Brunch, and also having using it as a workspace for my organization, so I can meet with members of my team in there. So I'm going to be using Go Brunch in a much more multifaceted way than I am Restream. Right? I see it as a tool to be used for so many more things than just social media broadcast. I'm going to be using it for business. I'm going to be using it for private conversations. I'm going to be using it for networking with my followers. I'm going to leave it open all day long when I do have office days, and hopefully my followers will pop in and come visit me. So that's to me, like I see them both as being complements to one another, and I think Richard has done a phenomenal job, to your point, with outstanding customer service. I emailed them the other day. You got back in like 5 minutes. It was amazing. So thanks, Richard.
I love it. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to briefly give you my take on how these two sites differ. So Restream and the sites we'll talk about tomorrow in streaminglive.com or whatever I'm going to call it, live streaming for beginners. It's very much. I want to share this graphic just to really hone on this. Restream is this. It's multi-streaming to up to 30 different places at one time. An amazing idea. 30 different places. Let me tell you how that works. On the paid version, which is $19 a month, I don't work for Restream. I don't work for them. I just love it. Just letting you know. You can have up to 10 guests, and each of those guests can send that file to 3 places: LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and several others, Twitter, Twitch, etc. So on a good day, if you had 10 guests, they could send their file to 30 different places at one time, multi-streaming, right? The exact opposite of that is that once you start getting a good following, you're going to want to take your people somewhere. You're going to want to send the diehards to a place. For me, that's Go Brunch. So that's what Go Brunch is. It's the place to send your diehards. It's not a place to broadcast to the world. It's a totally different, for me, that's how I'm using it. So live streaming is this idea that we have one show and we send it to the world. Once the world knows we exist and they love us, we want to bring the diehards back to us. Is that a good synopsis, Richard, of how you would explain the difference between Restream and Go Brunch? Have you got a slightly different take on that?
I think it's a good, I think it's a good point, right? Like you start with Restream as your funnel, right? Like just for getting new people, new folks from your social media channels, right? And we are just experiencing something right now, right? Because I think Chris is multi-streaming to his network, right? Which means you and him can stream at the same time, and this can multiply the audience, right? This is really, really cool. This is something that this platform such as Restream, they are capable of doing, and definitely helps you to get more traction in terms of, especially in the awareness and consideration stage, right? What doesn't matter, whatever, whatever you are considering here, if you're considering to sell something or just raise a number of people to attend your events. And after that, if you want to build a community, right, to bring people in, then you can use Go Brunch. However, I want to share like a different perspective here. In Go Brunch, you have a huge community right now. Not as big as LinkedIn, of course, right? But we have a huge community. And if you enter in the right door, right, you start attending the waffle or join Ollie's room and you start getting to know different people, you can start using Go Brunch as your awareness or consideration stage to meet new people, right? Again, doesn't matter the objective, right? Maybe you're looking for a business, or maybe you're looking for a business partner, or I don't know, a life partner. I don't know. But yeah, definitely you can start in Go Brunch the same way that you start on LinkedIn. And at some point, if you want to live stream a specific event together with your community, then you can do that. You can do using Go Brunch combined with Restream, or you can use Restream by itself.
Yeah, I love this. I think we're now entering a different phase of this whole process. You know, we're now starting to use this tech very considerately, like considerably. We're very considered when we use this technology. The technology is all there, and we can get a bit overwhelmed by it. But for me, the tech is there as a gift. We are using the tech for our purposes and not the reverse. So live streaming is great for getting the word out to lots and lots of people. LinkedIn has 1 billion users, right? That's a very big audience. 1/8 of the planet has a LinkedIn account. So we can get, for fun, out to the world and then just do things. Send them various links and try it. I'm just sending you a link to. I'm going to show you exactly how many people are on LinkedIn. It's pretty amazing. So there's a. I'm going to take our pictures off there. There's 1 billion people on LinkedIn. 1 billion. Like, this is a pretty big number. So we if we want to, we could get the word out to 1 billion people. They're not all online at the same time, and some of people don't use it that often, but it's an extraordinary opportunity if you've got a message you want to share. But why I love Go Brunch so much is that once you've found your tribe, you can then send them to people, send them to places that you really want to sort of hone in. Like, we can only have 10 people on this call, and that's fine. But on Go Brunch, you can have 200 people, right? And it's a much better environment. We're going to do a whole show on Go Brunch on Wednesday, so don't stress. We're going to actually cover this in great detail, and DM me if you want a link to that. And if you want to know more about that particular show, go to Where Is Keith Today, and that show is in 2 days from today. Wherever you are in the world, it's 2 days exactly from this time. I keep saying Wednesday, but it's Wednesday in Melbourne. So today's show is really all about tech and the tech check. Richard, what tech do you think you need as a basics? What do you use, and how do you get the word out about what you do? And tell us about your tech stack.
Well, in terms of tech, I don't have much hardware, but I have a lot of software. Pretty much, I have a little bit of everything, right? Especially if you are in the tech world, you need some different tools. In terms of tech, in addition to GoBrunch, which is super useful for me to communicate with my team or communicate with the Brunchaholics, I have software for sending newsletters. I have a lot of automation in place. I have software for reaching out influencers. I have and everything integrated, right? That's what makes a lot of work. And I have different stuff integrated, right? I'm even using like a spreadsheet with using the YouTube API to get updated data information about YouTube channels, and something that with the help of AI I have been programming myself, something that wouldn't be possible in the past, right? But yeah, a lot of tech like that, a lot of automations in place. And if anyone is interested, I'm happy to share the name of the tools that I'm using or how I'm integrating everything. It's something that I'm very passionate about.
I really want to have this discussion. Today's chat is called the Social Audio Sound Check. For all those people that don't know how to do this, we're going to have a couple of shows about this next week. Chris, what's your tech stack? Let's have that discussion for you. What do you use? Do you use your phone? Do you use your laptop, a PC? I know you bought a funky mic recently. Well, I'll put a picture of that up on the screen. What do you use for those who want to get started?
So right now I'm actually on my iPad M4 Pro. It has been by far the easiest thing for me to use for Restream, because I could side by side in Safari, both LinkedIn and Restream. So I can mute the LinkedIn conversation, switch back and forth, and make comments. And I have got a keyboard, the Magic Keyboard attached to it. So it basically looks like I'm on a laptop, but it's not. I could bring it everywhere and I could plug it into my car. So I could, you know me, I'm mobile, I'm on the road a lot. So for me, this has been the perfect solution. But I also have a cell phone as a backup, and I do have a Razer Blade 3080 that I use primarily for the majority of my work that I will be upgrading in June with the new series.
Love it. I love it. This is very good. I'm an Android user. I have a tablet, an S9, actually an S7. Currently up to the S9. My wife has an S9. She always has the best stuff. But it was her birthday recently, so that makes sense. So I have a tablet, an S7. I have a PC. I have a laptop, and I have a Samsung S21. And this particular mic is a Samson 2QU, that big, deep radio sound. So I'd love to bring Mike in on this. Welcome to the call, Mike. Tell us what you're doing. Do you have a bit of a tech stack going on there, or do you just use your phone?
I use my phone, but mostly I use an all-in-one HP with a Jabra headset and mic boom.
Yeah.
The reason I use that, I have a beefier headset and mic, but it's over the ear, so that kind of gets me all sweaty and whatnot. And so I don't really enjoy using that long term. And then for a camera, when I decide to go on camera, I have a HD Pro C920 Logitech at the moment.
Logitech. That's a good choice. It's very important that we have this discussion about tech, but also in the sense that I'm going to do a great decoder on this tomorrow, live streaming for beginners, because you can start wherever you are and you can go as far down the rabbit hole as you want. And the two questions you want to ask is, how much do you want to spend, and how good do you want to look? And more importantly, how good do you want to sound? You can get a reasonable result on your phone, but you can only take that idea so far. And that's my job. My job is to make sure that you've got the options. Ollie, what do you do? What sort of tech do you use to get the word out for what you do?
Well, I have a laptop, and actually I only use the mic of my laptop and the camera of my laptop, but I have a special mic that I have to find because I'm so organized that sometimes I don't see my stuff. And I have a camera also with a ring lamp, but right now it's somewhere, so I have to make some order. I have so much mess. But yeah, and also a tablet, so I can be right now on multiple screens if I want to manage it. But the most important is not especially the tech, but how do we organize ourselves so that we are in our best energy, that we have also we are sure that our guests are there on time. I had an issue recently with a guest. First, it was because she was thinking it was another time, and then the second time she had her tech internet connection in and out and in and out. So I think that the most important is to be sure that you, not only you, but the people that you are inviting are also clear on the tech side. And also, while we are doing this, we are doing this for our audience. So again, thank you for joining in our stream, and also the replay stream. The replay team is amazing. So that's it.
That's right. Let's have that discussion. If you do want to make any comments and questions, please do that. We've got a really robust group of one person minding the store. That person shall remain nameless. But if you do, that person, another person living in Melbourne, Australia, has his eye on the ball, and we'll look at the tech and look at the show notes. But please, mention all of these things and join us. But we've got room for up to 10 people on the call. What I wanted to talk about with what Ollie was saying is that sometimes you're right, Ollie, you can get a little bit too complex. And I wanted to have this chat with the group. Do you think it's worth the effort to sound better if the tech is hard for you? Like, I can tell that you're on a laptop, Ollie, but does that matter? What do you think, Mike? Does it matter to you that someone's on a laptop and sounds a little bit far away, or would you prefer a good quality conversation that's simplified than all this high tech stuff?
Depends on the purpose of your cast. Generally, I'm more interested in the thought, not necessarily the quality. But if it's so bad that I can't really hear and it's a strain to understand what's being said, then I would say you probably need to figure out what your internet connection is or your mic situation.
And that, as a host, that's my job. My job is to make sure that everyone sounds as good as they can. And this is actually one of the reasons I love Restream and Go Brunch. The sound quality of, well, here we are on Restream. The sound quality is superb. They have noise cancellation built in, and I can tell you for sure I've done 1,000 shows, and my number one pet peeve is when someone calls in from the airport or a busy shopping center and is so powerful that they want to say something, but they have no idea that the noises of their environment are going to get picked up. It's very annoying for us, the listener, and especially the host. And I wear headphones so I can hear every little sound. So I'm not proposing that everyone's as fussy as me, but I think if we can at least aim to have some good sound for our audience, then we should be okay. Now, this is a very important conversation to have. Let me just see. I've got some more comments there. Everyone sounds so delectably good, and that's because Restream streams in stereo and is an extremely good site. Restream.io. I do not work for this company. I just love it.
Keith, I did want to mention that when I was restreaming, and I don't know if it has to do with, maybe I need a beefier machine, but when I was restreaming and I would flip over to LinkedIn, I was noticing that I would get what I'm calling glitchy sound. In other words, I could hear you and then it would cut out and then it would come back. And then when I came back over to the studio, the Restream studio, everything was fine. So I can't tell if that's a LinkedIn problem or my computer problem.
Yeah, well, I can tell you for sure how to find out. All we need to do is go to speedtest.net, and that will tell you what your internet speed is. Were you on your laptop or were you on your phone?
No, I was on my my machine, which
Yeah.
I was. I can test it now, but I was at around 500 megabits.
That's right, you
before.
were. I remember we had this conversation, so it wasn't your speed. I'll keep that in mind. No one else has complained about this exact problem, so it might be something to do with your connection at that time. But I might actually throw to Richard on this because we've had this conversation many times. There's two very important factors with internet. One is the speed, and the second and more important feature is the reliability. So it's not so much how fast your internet is; it's how reliable it is, how regular it is. If it's very bumpy and it cuts in and out like it does here in Australia, it's really hopeless. I'd much rather have 50 megabytes a second but a strong signal than 200 megabytes sometimes and sometimes not. Richard, I want to ask you two questions. How important is a good internet signal in this new age of creating content, and how do you do it there to make sure that the signal is strong? We got you there.
Well, yeah, I think these days everything is based on connection, right? And it's definitely important. Not only I think the speed itself, but many times how 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 your networking is oscillating, right? Like highs and lows, and sometimes we have lows and we lost some sort of signals. However, by the point that Michael was mentioning, to be honest, I don't have enough experience on this new LinkedIn format that we have been testing, right? Which is the live stream, to know the issues that LinkedIn has, right? honestly not sure. You know, I have attended multiples, maybe I don't know, hundreds of LinkedIn audio events, enough to know some glitches that it had, right? As much as I didn't, I haven't had any connection issues with LinkedIn audio, but yeah, in terms of video here, it might be some stuff about LinkedIn, Michael. To be honest, I'm not sure, right? I don't listen to many hours, but I know that first of all, there's a lag, right? There's a delay because it's a different protocol. It's not like a real time protocol, as you know. And secondly, I don't know, because we have multiple layers, right? You have your voice and then your restream and then the LinkedIn. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe something can happen in this middle field that we don't know, and that's why we had these issues. However, again, I'm not very experienced with uh, live streaming on LinkedIn. That's why I'm not exactly sure what might happen. Considering that Michael has a very good networking, my assumption it was, I don't know, something on LinkedIn or Restream that happened at that time. But yeah, answer your question, Keith. Yeah, looking only at the speed is not enough. You really have to look how stable it is. And of course, if you want a very, very stable internet, I think cable is still the best option.
Yeah, you've definitely got to hardwire it. There's a couple of factors here. One is I've noticed that there's about a 1 minute delay on my system between my studio feed and the live feed. A 1 minute delay. Like this is intolerable. But there's nothing I can do about it. So I'm not looking at and I apologize for this, but I can't look at the LinkedIn live feed because there's a huge delay, and I think this is what you're talking about, Mike. That the difference between LinkedIn live and the Restream feed is huge. Like I might even calculate it. I might just put in a graphic and just test it, and then wait to see how long it takes to come on LinkedIn. I think it's about a minute. And Richard, can you tell us why that is? Why is there such a time lag in our feed?
What I realize is that if you keep your stream on all the time, like you're not switching tabs, I think it's the delay is actually considerable. Like I think it's 10 seconds, 20 seconds max. What I realize is that once we start switching tabs in our computers, then I don't know, it definitely gets out of sync. And then even like we start listening to the sound and not synced with the video, right? And if you're focused on the stream, it's not that bad. But if you're like switching back and forth from Restream to LinkedIn, right, you might notice a lot of lag and say, wow, I'm still 1 minute or 2 minutes before, right, and behind. And that's something that I realized. But if you're focused on the stream only with a permanent active tab, then you will see that it's not as bad. I don't know why this happened, but yeah,
No,
this is a
this
behavior
is
that I
important
noticed.
because for me, I want to make my show look really cool. Like that's the reason I'm using Restream. I want it to look good. Like, and so I'm constantly moving between the people that are talking and the people that are moving back to the audience, and we share graphics and there's no point otherwise. If we just had this look where everyone was equal and we're just talking, I mean, I couldn't see the point of that. I mean, I'd get bored with that very, very, very quickly.
Oh, Keith,
If we just had this on for like an hour, I'd just get so bored with that.
I know a lot of casters, and I know you're doing pretty much audio only, but I know a lot of casters have multiple devices. Like they'll use like a notebook or a notepad for viewing, like bringing stuff up. Like if you watch a value, whatever the guy's Patrick Ben David, he has like a little uh, um, netbook or whatever that he looks at, and then a lot of people. So you're running your cast, so to speak, off of one device, and then looking at networking and stuff. So that's one thing I would probably recommend. The other thing I've had issues with actually is switching between multiple apps. So if I'm using Restream and then I go to Go Brunch, I had major problems with trying to get my video and audio working. It wasn't recognizing GoBrunch wasn't recognizing my camera or my mic.
Well, let's have that discussion. Richard's here. Tell us that challenge. What challenge were you having with GoBrunch?
Well, I literally couldn't Well, actually, I saw it saw the mic, but it couldn't find the camera. So I ended up basically rebooting the whole PC, and then it cleared. I don't know if Richard has any ideas about how to. What's the word I'm looking
Yeah,
for?
I think if it's if this was happening only during the time that you were on Restream and GoBrunch at the same time, it might be some kind of conflict, right? And sometimes that this happens. Like, I know
Hmm.
that if you are in two different, it never happened to me like in two different Chrome tabs, but it happens like if you're on Chrome or Firefox at the same time. Firefox doesn't allow you to turn on your camera because the device is already in use. But if this is happening even if your stream is off, right? If you're only in GoBranch, then it might be something else, and it might be, I don't know, your browser is, for some reason you have to switch the source or change the source. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah, I mean, I have Windows 10. This is an older system, and I'll eventually move to 11. But
Windows 10 should be fine. Yeah. One more
yeah,
thing that I noticed that is it's a very good tip for everyone. Um, every browser, they have a kind of they call like sleeping tabs, right? Which means if you stay a lot of time in one tab and then you switch to another, this new tab that you're just switching to, it will refresh, right? That's because they have a kind of a eco something, right? I don't even know how active this is, but of course, it kind of saves resources from your machine. What you can do is there's a setting where you can just keep this tab active, and it just adds some websites to be always active, right? Let's say, for example, GoBrunch or LinkedIn or Restream. I did here with Restream and LinkedIn, Restream and GoBrunch actually, right? Every time I was switching to Restream, I had a problem because it was taking a lot of time to render the images. And what I did is like, okay, I don't want this website to lose like I don't want it to lose the active function, right? Every time I switch back, I want it to be active all the time. This is something that you can do in your settings of your browser.
well, I think the other thing is you can like mute your I'm on Restream right now, and I can actually mute on the tab itself, and then there on the left hand side of the URL window, there's
Yeah, the address
a
bar.
video icon. Yeah.
Yeah, you can definitely do that. Yeah, it's a little bit dangerous sometimes to mute there because probably if you're in different websites, you won't have any issue. But depending where you are, if you're mute, if you forget, okay, well, it becomes a little bit confusing. But yeah,
Yeah.
you can definitely mute everything using your address bar control.
Yeah, but get back to GoBrunch, it wasn't recognizing the browser. The GoBrunch would say the browser does not recognize your camera.
Yeah, but
So
the mic was okay.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, all right. Yeah, I'll share a link with you for you to test your camera in a different browser, a different app that uses the same technology. Because pretty much all the video conferencing apps in the browser, they use the same technology, which is WebRTC. And the way that we kind of capture um, from your device all the available sources, and then we list them. What happens is that many times, I don't know, for some reason your browser is not communicating very well with your Windows, right? For some reason it's not listing properly. But I'll,
mm,
I'll send you a DM with a link for you to
I
try it out.
appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
And this is exactly what this show is about on a Monday for me, Sunday in the US and Canada. What I loosely call Buy Me a Coffee Monday, just a bit of a chance to have a bit of fun and talk about the various challenges we find. I've actually got two shows that are proper shows which won't go into this much detail about the tech, but it's very, very cool that we've got the opportunity to talk about this. And Chris, would you love to talk? I'd love to hear how you're using this tech, and do you have any challenges yourself with the tech you're using, or is it starting to even out now?
Still having trouble with that little bit of a microphone issue, but that I finally fixed, I believe, with a new dock for the laptop. So the only issue that I've got at this point is I've got multiple audio drivers installed, and as soon as I clear that up, I'm having a buddy come by to fix all that up. I should be in the clear, but how I'm going to be using it is pretty much back to what I described before. Like I want to get my message out, kind of to echo on what you were saying earlier. Like I want to get my message out on my show every Friday. I think I'm going to change the time to 6 o'clock. 5 was a little early, and you know, uh, we kind of repurpose that content, turn it into, have some of that content recorded, use some of those conversations to generate more content throughout the week, put it out onto my website, and kind of make it just a self-feeding machine where it's, my message is out there, the audience is following, what's all organic. And honestly, as I build my organization, I want to be able to interact with the people who it's going to affect, the people who we're trying to help. So, like, I love that I'm going to be able to have an avenue like this where on Friday, like, I can have a call with, like, hey, how'd I do this week? And, my company, people who can look at my company and be like, hey, you guys did great, or you did terrible, or we have ideas for you. So, like, I think it's a great way for organizations to have real face-to-face interactions with the people they affect.
Yeah, look, I want to pick up on what you just said there. I just heard the magical word repurposing. There's two very, very clear lines of attack here. One is you do the live show, it's great, it's live, then it goes away. But you've mentioned that you want to go deeper than that and that you want to repurpose your shows and get the video of it and make it snippets. How are you doing that? And this is a very important conversation to have. I'm going to do a whole show about this. How do you repurpose this amazing content that we've created so that it's got another life and feeds itself? Tell us a bit about how you're going to repurpose it, because we all need to share the maximum amount of resources about this. It's a hard thing to do. It's very time consuming, but how do you do it?
Well, since I haven't figured out my process yet, let me tell you a little bit about how I actually work as a person and what my thought process is. So, the way I'm thinking about it right now is now that I know I've got this video will be my second restream or third restream that will be on my YouTube page. So now I have to learn by tinkering, by playing, kind of like you, Keith. You've got to push all the buttons, you always say. So now I'm going to go in and I'm going to look at my YouTube and be like, okay, I'm going to download this video. How do I do this? How do I attack it? How do I turn it into an MP4? How do I do I have to feed it into an AI? Is there an AI that I don't know about that's going to transcribe this? Then what can I do from there? And the reason I don't want to ask anybody for advice on how to do that is because I need to learn and find these tools for myself, because my process is all about the discovery. And in that process, I find so many more other things that I'll find for other projects. So I don't want any tips. I like to learn by myself. And then if I get stuck, I'll go be like, hey, I'll reach out to like Zakia or Amolia and be like, hey, how'd you guys do it? Well, I only do that when I get stuck.
What about you, Mike? What are you thinking? You're probably at the early stages. I'm guessing. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but what tech do you use to repurpose this stuff?
Well, like you, I'm toying with the idea of just doing live. I haven't decided because I launched my newsletter. I did my first article in my newsletter. So I'm trying to sort out my voice. I'm trying to figure out whether I'm going to be doing an interview type program or maybe even something like this. Because I'm aware of there's like 2 or 3 other CISO shows where they get other CISOs on. So I have to sort out exactly what I'm going to do, and that's going to really, that's going to depend then on how I repurpose it. I do like being able to restream it though, and getting to your point, sort of a second life, and then be able to point to people, to say, hey, have a listen on this podcast.
Yeah. Well, I know Ollie has a lot of ideas about this. I'm going to throw to him about this because one of the problems I have here is the internet is very, very, very slow. So the shows go for 2 hours because we're having so much fun. It takes me like about 45 minutes to download that file. I mean, it's criminal. It's 2025. I mean, it should be better, but unfortunately, the internet in Australia is not that good. So I've got to find a way to do this quickly because I'm just going to get impatient. So, Ollie, how do you do it? You seem to have a bit of a miracle touch to doing these quick videos. How do you do it? Because you're going to do it. You've got years and years of content you're going to do. Tell us how you're going to do it and the tools you're going to use.
Well, I think the most important is not to throw out the different tools because you can search on Google or any other browser, which is the editing tool. And I'm also in favor of Keith and Chris' approach, which is do your own search. And if you are struggling, ask for the experts, because they know even better. But I'm having various tools for various different things, and what I intend to do will be incredible. I have video editing tools that can edit video like specific time snippets, or I can reframe the video. And also the blessings with Restream is that you can have separate channel. Imagine you have Keith, Chris, Richard, and any other guest, and you can say, okay, I wanna just hear Richard. If there are someone who is coughing aside, I don't want to hear the coughing. I just want to hear Richard. And with Restream, you can download separate channels. And with that, you can edit video, change the frame, and also you can use tools to transcribe. What I imagine, I was seeing that already in, there are professionals that are doing that since many months and years, and even commercializing that, like Searchy. It's from Stu McLaren. And with that, you are uploading your videos, and you can also tag people. And then it's really amazing for a Q&A. Imagine you have a Q&A session that is lasting 1 hour. Your audience is not going to watch the 1 hour video for having their question, listening to their question answered. No, the best process is that you are answering question, you are tagging the person, and then the person is magically receiving an email, say, hey, we replied to your question. Here is a link that goes directly, boom, on the moment that you are answering the question. It's transcribed. And so the person click the links and is having automatically go to the minute and listening to the answer to his question. And so using transcribe, using tagging, email, and I've seen that on, I think recently RJ was organizing through partnership session about Pickaxe. It's a chat through GoBranch. And imagine that you can also let your videos upload. Then someone is asking the question and says, and the chat is replying to you. The answer of the question is da 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 da. And if you want to check, click the link and you automatically jump on your YouTube video that your question is answered with the minute that your question is answered. That's really the powerful thing. So I think depending on your business, on your income, don't invest hundreds and hundreds of dollars if you have just like 10 or 20 or 50 videos. It's really about professionals. But what is important is also, do you want to explore and invest time? Or do you want use a pre-made tool that already exists? So that's up to you. So that's my share, and I'm yielding the mic.
Thanks so much, mate. Richard, you have a wonderful system for making videos. You've just made a video on the in picture format. You've actually got a video of me speaking about Go Brunch. How do you do that for all those people that want to repurpose? You add your videos to YouTube. How do you do it?
Well, I'm lucky enough to have a person doing that for me, right? I have Angela who works on marketing. She's in charge of content creation. What I typically do with her is like we meet together and we kind of list the main pinpoints for the video, and she understands the concept behind the feature, and then she records. And we try to be human. We don't use much AI for generating the video because Go Brunch is very human. We want to show a face of a real person. That's why she records. And but what we typically do is in Go Brunch, as much as we don't have like this kind of a AI transcription, Angela uses a tool that is called Crisp with K, Crisp.ai, and it captures the audio of everyone, right? And many times we have meetings with different creators that we are looking to collaborate with, and then she captures the text using Crisp AI, which is a free tool that everyone can use. And then using that, after that, she can, just repurpose these in different ways. But pretty much what she uses is for editing the videos, she uses Adobe Premiere, and she uses a very, very cool extension that is called Firecut.ai. And this is something that I'm paying a monthly subscription, unfortunately, right? Because we all like lifetime deals. But yeah, this is something that we're paying monthly. But this Firecut.ai really does magic. Like it captures like the best moments, and it changes like the camera perspective, like it approximates from the person and then makes it far away. It creates a lot of interesting engagement, not to mention that you can even add story blocks, right? Which is like this kind of videos that is playing on the background. If you're talking about, I don't know, money, it shows money. And if you're talking about, I don't know, audio events, it will show like, a background of audio. And this is something that is really, really cool. Crisp.ai for capturing the audio, and Firecut.ai as an extension for Adobe Premiere if you are into Adobe.
So it's Firecut, not PowerCut.
Yeah, let me put here. No, it's Firecut.ai.
All right, let's actually talk about this. What does it do? I also want to mention Crisp, because Crisp with a K has a very, very cool format for making your stuff sound better. And Firecut.ai has a very cool way of making your stuff look better. What does it do, and why have you invested in it?
Well, by the time that we purchased, like, was actually an interesting story because someone asked me to get in touch with the guy and convince him to sell lifetime deals. But this guy already had 750 subscribers in 2 months, right? And that's because he started partnering with a YouTuber, and the YouTuber had like, I don't know, 4 million followers. But anyways, what this software does is very, very cool. Like, imagine that you upload like a video and you ask the AI to, hey, first of all, you can crop any kind of noise or no parts of it, right? Many times you have a video, but there are some parts that it's not very relevant, and there's like an interval, and it crops everything automatically based on the AI. And after that, you have a lot of video effects, right? And just approximating the camera or making it far away. And it's really, really interesting. There are lots of effects, right, that you can use in addition to the story blocks, right? Everyone uses story block. I think it makes the videos more interactive. And then you can use the AI for capturing story blocks, and which are footages, right? You get video footages, and then you add to your videos just to make it a little bit more engaging.
And I haven't heard this phrase, story block. What does that mean?
When you are watching a video And then let's say we're talking here, we want your live to be more engaging. During this sentence, the video will show the face of a girl, right? Riding a bike and being happy, right? That's, let's say, the cliche idea of the story blocks. You say something, and there's like a video footage that is played. That's the idea of the story blocks, right? And the AI from Firecut, it already captures, if I'm not wrong, right? Because I never use, I just saw Angela using, but if Firecut.ai, it captures the best footages to represent the let's say the sentences that you are speaking, right? Let's say if you're talking about, hey, technology is changing the world, right? It will just play like a video of, I don't know, like someone typing on a keyboard, something like that. And then you can have this kind of footages just to make your video a little bit more interactive or more engaging.
So it's what we might call B-roll. Have you heard that phrase B-roll in the sort of TV world?
B-roll? No, I'm not sure if I'm aware of.
So in the TV world, like, not that I've worked in TV, but if someone is going to do an interview about, say, the Roman conquest of Istanbul, which was called Constantinople at that time, they would actually go to Istanbul, which is what it's currently called, and then they would do this footage in the forest, and then they would superimpose that real footage over the top of the interview to sort of superimpose and to say, look, this is what the environment would have been like in 27 BC when Hannibal, who wasn't a Byzantium, but you know what I mean, he invaded Rome, and here's what he did. I must admit, I've never heard of this phrase, but it sounds to me like to be a sort of an internet version of B-roll, and you're calling it story blocking. I love this. I'm actually going to Google this. I've never heard of it. And so it's storyblock.com is the best version of that, is it?
Yeah, I think storyblock.com is like this main source. And I think many apps like Pictory, I know we also use Pictory or Pictory, I don't know how to say that. It's one more tool that is integrated with storyblocks.com and uses AI to get like the best footage to represent what you're talking about in your video.
Yeah. Let's pick up on this. I wonder if I'm the only one in the world that's never heard of this. Chris, have you heard this phrase story blocking? It sounds like a very cool concept, but I honestly have never heard of it.
No, I've absolutely heard of it. Yeah, it's just an interesting way to like set up almost a TV show, like a script, and just like almost like a visual diorama. Almost, I guess, is kind of the way to set it up. I don't know. That's just the way I picture it in my head anyway when I hear the phrase. But yeah, I've heard of it. I do a lot of work in it? Absolutely not. But I've definitely heard the concept. I'm familiar with it.
Have you heard of
What's
this?
What's the
Michael?
difference between story blocking and storyboarding? I thought it was a storyboard.
Well, storyboarding isn't available to the public. Storyboarding is something you do to tell your people what you want it to look like. Story blocking is, from what I understand, a visual representation while the video is going.
Oh,
I mean, I've never heard of this idea. It is amazing. I've definitely heard of B-roll. Have you heard the phrase B-roll, Michael?
yeah. B-roll is footage you take, almost like filler,
Filler, yeah. So
Yeah.
I'd
or
start,
lead in or whatever. There's a
yeah,
bunch of different uses for B-roll, but
yeah. So I'd imagine story blocking is just basically an archive of, and I'm guessing it's an archive, Richard. Is it an archive of existing footage you just draw on, or are you making it yourself? What do you think? We got to do a whole show on this. I have never heard this phrase, but it sounds fascinating. Imagine if I could play a short video now about what Go Brunch does to save me having to tell you about it. That is just genius. What do you think, Chris? Have you heard of B-roll, and do you think that story blocking is an archive of material, or do people make it and add it to their own sort of their own system?
Well, I can't answer the second half of the question because I mean, I'm not overly familiar with it to the point where I could sit there and be like, yeah, this is absolutely how you do it. But like B-roll, I'm definitely familiar with. I've seen tons of shots. A bunch of my buddies are in journalism, and I see B-roll from everything. It's like B-roll is essentially a live version of the picture that comes in Walmart when you buy it's a placeholder. When you go to Walmart, you buy a picture frame. There's a picture of a family in there already to show you what your family could look like in there. And Keith, like you said, like B-roll for an ancient alien show would be like, hey, we're gonna go shoot around Area 51, and be like, up. There you go. We can just show you the environment. So story blocking, I would imagine, would be like being able to pull up something like that live within the show that we're in, just like embedding a quick YouTube clip, or kind of like you did when you pulled up the background before and you showed that there were 8 billion people on LinkedIn. I mean, does that sort of count? Did we story block? Did we just do it?
Well, in a way, the reason I'm fascinated by the topic is because I can now say, what is multi-streaming? In a way, this is story blocking. I can talk about it, but I can give you a visual that this one show can go to LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube simultaneously. And this image is much, much more compelling than me talking about it. Is that sort of what you're getting to, Richard? I'm quite fascinated by this. I honestly have never heard of it.
Yes. I think we can invite Angela one day just to explore a little bit, how she does that. But pretty much many of these apps, right, as I was mentioning, we started with Pictory, right? It's a very popular app. Was on AppSumo before, and she has this integration with Storyblocks. And imagine that you are just, you have your video, right? You are speaking in your video. And I have seen, for example, many podcasts that have that. Like, what is the name of that lady? Hala Taha or something like that, right? Um, she's very, very, very popular here on LinkedIn. If you watch her podcast, she start talking about something, or let's say the person is talking about something like, this changed my life, it made me a lot of joy, and now I'm a different person, right? Instead of just showing her face, because it gets a little bit tiring just watching her face over and over, it just switches to a different kind of footage, which is like a representation of the sentence, right? And then there's a video that starts playing, and this is like mind blowing, and there's an explosion that happens right with the video. That's exactly what the story blocks are about. It's like pretty much short footages that represent something that you're saying.
Yeah, wow. I'm actually going to research this, and I'm guessing, because it's a thing, that there's now, and the actual question I was asking, and this is the exact question that we're talking about, is what do you do to repurpose the show? So we can talk and we're having fun and we're just doing our thing, and we're spontaneously generating content. But what if we were looking at the recording and saying, wow, that was a really good piece of content there. Let's pick that out and make something of it. I would imagine images over the top while we're talking would actually make that much more compelling. And I learned something new today. What is story blocking? If you're in the audience and you'd like to comment on this, I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you want to come up on stage, please DM me and I'll give you the link. If you've got any questions at all, please come up on stage and ask those. We really do want to hear from you. We've got up to 10 people who can call in. It's a very, very cool format. I
have a stupid question, Keith. Can you live link from a story block?
I don't know. My gut feeling is that the story blocking is a series of images that you've got in your hard drive. And I don't think that they're on the internet. I wouldn't think they're in the cloud. Maybe they are. I don't know. But if I was going to story block, now that I think I absolutely know what it is, I would have, as I have here, and I guess this is story blocking. Tomorrow, I'm going to do a show about live streaming. here's the sort of ideal setup for live streaming. This gives you a bit of an indication what the show's going to be about. Why don't you join us? That's, I guess, what I would imagine story blocking is. We're going to talk about Go Brunch, and here's an example of a Go Brunch room. If you want to talk about your Go Brunch room, come and join us. I guess that's an example of story blocking, right? But let's have that discussion. Why would you want a live link from it?
Well, if it's informational, right? So I'm imagining some amount of my content's going to be technical. So if I want people to be able to dive deeper, and I don't want to necessarily do that on the show, it'd be nice to have a live link.
Yeah, you mean a link
yeah,
that is clickable?
Yep.
Yeah, I think I can categorically say that's not possible. But there's a couple of things you could do. One is you could put the live link in the LinkedIn comments, and that link would be live. And let me try. I'm sure I can try this while I'm on stage. I don't think I can do both, but someone in the audience could. So we could actually say storyblocks.com is the site. Why don't we put that in the actual YouTube link? Actually, I got a really cool lead about this. The actual link is storyblocks.com. Now, as I put that on the screen, that's not live. You can't click on that. You can type it in, but you can't click on it. If you put that in a LinkedIn show, in a LinkedIn chat, could someone please do that, and we'll try it. I reckon that's probably live. What do you think? Does that make sense, Richard? Do you think that would work?
What do you want us to toss into the chat, Keith?
I want to type in a live link to a real site that will go. You can try this one if you want, virtuallyunlimitedaudio.com. I can type that. Let me just do that. I can type in virtuallyunlimitedaudio.com, but that's not clickable, what we call live. If you put that into a LinkedIn comment, does it become live? I don't know. I can't try it because I'm online and I can't do two things at once, and it'll kick me out. So what we could do is that, yeah?
Yeah, I got you.
So can someone in the audience or someone on stage type that into the chat on LinkedIn? The other thing we can do, Mike, I'm very, very excited about this. I think I've got your answer.
YouTube?
No. I have found a way. I'm very proud of this. I have found a way to create a green room on Discord while the show is live. So if you go to the green room on our LinkedIn page, which is Virtually Unlimited Audio, our Discord page, and you go to the green room, that link is there. Now, this is a special gift for all my Discord community. I've got 266 members now. So I think that's the answer, Mike. If you want to use Discord, there you go, Mike. I think I've got you there on now, if you go to our room and you go to our green room, this is a very complicated process. I mean, I don't know if you'd be bothered with all of this, but if you want a live link, then I've done it. I've actually put the live link inside of a Discord room and I can click on it and go to it. That's the answer. Now, there must be an easy way to do that. Can you do it on LinkedIn? Does it click? What do you think, Chris? Did you want to try that?
I'm already posting comments from Discord, so I've got the link to Discord up, and then I've commented from my cell phone 2 comments. Wow, did it up on the chat, so you can see them up there. So yeah, it works that quickly. It was really not hard. I just copied and pasted the link that I put into the LinkedIn chat, and now I'm in all 3. This is amazing.
Yeah, the reason why
that is new. It's the first time that I see on Restream a comment from Discord. That's
You've never seen that done before, have you?
I've seen already.
I invented it.
Yeah.
What
Ah,
happened? I'm very proud of this. When LinkedIn, sorry, when Restream said that you could only have 6 people on stage, I knew straight away that we were going to run out of room very quickly. So what I've done is I've actually created a Discord green room, which is actually simply at. I'll just take off over these. If you go to virtuallyunlimitedaudio.com, which I can't make a live link yet because I can't work out how to do that, because I'm right at the edge of my mechanism. I'm trying to talk. I'm trying to run the controls. I really do need a co-host. I really do need a wingman. But we've worked it out. We've worked out how to have live links inside a Restream room. This is amazing. Does it also work on LinkedIn though? Would that be easier for people? Can you just make a comment on LinkedIn and see if it's live? Try that, Mike. Just go to LinkedIn, type in any link, and see if it works. Or can't you because it'll...
since many times I've been commenting on LinkedIn, probably almost 30 comments, but no one is showing on Restream, strangely.
I'm sorry, Ollie, I wasn't laughing at you. We got a hilarious comment from the audience.
Well, it's okay. Does it comes from Kenny? Because
No,
Kenny's
somebody named
always hilarious.
Cybervision put up a comment.
That's me.
No, but I've seen that, but
I think
Yeah,
I hear
but
what
you
you're
know,
saying,
it's-
Ollie. There's such a huge time lag between the live show and the comments showing that your comments...
No, it's not about a lag. I've posted since many times, since already 30, 40 minutes, and none of my comments is showing on the panel of Restream. Like, by instance, you were seeing a comment from Kenny that is saying, "I agree with Ollie. There are never stupid questions." I was posting that comment on LinkedIn, and I was posting on private message here to say to Michael, there is no stupid question. But strangely enough, we don't see any Ollie said this, Ollie said that on the Restream pane. So sometimes Restream is bugging. That's also something to consider, that all your comments on LinkedIn might not all be visible on Restream. So that's why I'm going back and forth on LinkedIn to see if there are comments that I could have missed on Restream.
I'm not seeing the Discord comment on LinkedIn.
No, you won't. I'm not. That's not what I'm asking. What I'm
okay.
asking,
So that's in Restream. Okay.
what I'm asking for is, can you type a comment on LinkedIn and is it live? Like if you typed in a link on LinkedIn, can you click it and it takes you to the site?
Well, kind of. If you highlight it and right click it, then you can open the link. But that's normal browser behavior.
Okay.
It doesn't create that I know of anyway. If I'm in the comments on LinkedIn, now what it does after, I don't know. And I think LinkedIn Live, I'm trying to remember if LinkedIn Live saves your links.
I don't think it does.
I know I attend George Pace's stuff, and he actually streams to multiple platforms, including YouTube and LinkedIn, and I know he has issues with links in general.
Yeah, well, it's an extreme. I mean, just try and imagine what we're doing. Like, I'm a guy in Melbourne, Australia, doing a radio show in the back of his house, and people from around the world, including Belgium, the US, and Canada, are listening live from their houses, sometimes from their phone. Right there, that's a miracle. And let's just call it out for what it is. That's a miracle. Then you're asking, okay, while you're talking, can you also send a live link to the site you're talking about? And can it work while I'm on the show? I mean, that might be just too big a miracle. I mean, it might just be too hard for the humanity at this time. Like, it might just be too hard. Let's just play out what we've already achieved. It might just be too hard. It probably isn't, but it's taxing my brain. Yes. Do you mean can you hyperlink it? That's exactly what I mean, Kenny. Kenny can try. Can you try putting in a link to a random website that you like in LinkedIn and can you click on it and go to the link? This is the exact answer, because to your point, Mike, you said last week, which was a good question, can you please send me a link to that mic that guy's using? I said, well, come on, I'm doing a live show. I haven't got time to be researching live links on the internet. Come on, just give me a break.
That's what your AI's for, Keith. Come on.
Well, how can I?
Get an
I've got
agent.
two
Get an
hands and
agent
one
already.
brain. How can I do it?
You don't have an
agent?
agent?
What's that?
You should be talking to your agent. What are you doing over there? Are you still in the Stone Ages?
Well, tell me what you mean by that. I don't.
An AI agent.
How can I be on the show talking and also doing something else? How can I do that?
Gemini has something called the AI Studio, and you can stream. You can basically have it watch your screen, and you can talk to it while you're talking. It's going to be a bit of a problem. You'd have to mute while you're talking to your agent, but
They'll fix it. Long and the short of it, Keith, AI is going to be able to do stuff for you in the very near future while you're running your own show.
Yeah. And this is what you're actually asking, Mike, is very important. And let me pick up on what we talked about last week. We had a really good show, possibly my personal best show ever. It was the show I enjoyed the most of any show I've ever done that I can remember doing. I can't remember having more fun than the show I did last week. And on that show, we talked a lot about tech, and a lot of that information sort of flew by us because we were talking. And Mike had said, this mic you're talking about, can you please send me a link to that? And I said, well, I'm doing stuff. I'm busy. I can't, my brain won't compute what you've just said. But this mic is the mic that I'm using right now, the Samson 2QU. It shouldn't be too hard for someone on the call or for a co-host to find a link to that and put it as a live link people can click on. I guess that's what you're saying, isn't it, Mike? It shouldn't be that hard.
well, I want to do one better. I want to be able to click on that on wherever, preferably in the studio, in Restream Studio, and get taken to that link.
Well, I haven't tried this yet, and this actually might be my next experiment. Amazon, you might not know this, but Amazon has a live streaming channel, and you can do exactly that. Now, I don't know if anyone's listened to a show there or done a show there, but just imagine you're on stage and you're saying, you know what, this is the mic I like. It's the Samson 2QU. Cost me about $100. Right? And if you like one, here's the link that I've created on Amazon, and I get like $2 every time you buy one. So why don't you just go and buy one of them? Now, this is exactly what you're talking about, Mike. I talk about mics, pardon the pun, all the time. So in a way, it would actually be quite on brand for me to link all my affiliate. I don't do this, but it could be a deal. The Samson 2QU is about $100. Amazon pays 2%. So if I say, look, this is the mic I use, I like it, you can hear that it sounds pretty good. Why don't you just click and buy one of them? You'll get your mic for $100 and I'll get $2. $2. Right? Hardly worth the effort. Wouldn't get out of bed for $2. But if 100 people buy them, there's $200. That's a night out. You know, that puts petrol in my car for a week. I'm exaggerating to make a point because our petrol's so much. But this is sort of what you're saying, Mike, isn't it? This is where it's going, right?
Yeah, you could have a direct monetization of your without even selling subscriptions. Just make it off of your ads, not the ads, but the mentions. In all
And
seriousness,
jump
though,
in, mate,
I
if
mean,
you want to talk. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you're using. Here's a really cool site called Be Connected, BEEKONNECTED. I'd love to hear your thoughts on how that differs. Love to hear you on the stage. We've got room for up to 10 people. So there's a use case, isn't it? There's a use case. I'm talking about this mic anyway. I use it. I love it. I'm very happy to recommend it. You can hear that it sounds good. Why shouldn't I just put a link to the Amazon product launch and then you just buy one and I get $2? And that $2 goes in a pot, and that eventually I'll be able to upgrade my mic to a Shure, 58, which is $150, right? I do want to get a Shure 58. So, I know exactly what you're talking about, Mike, but I just don't have the brain power to do that yet, not as a solo person. And
not only that, on Amazon it's $70.
US.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, you got to double everything in Australia. We're so far away. Everything's double here. That's just the global economy, isn't it? So, yes, $79 US for this mic or for the Shure 58.
69 for that mic.
Yeah.
Uh,
So, if we wanted to do, say, the Shure 58, which is almost an exact replica, I'm gonna go in and talk about this in a minute. The Shure 58, unbelievable mic. They're like $100, $150. Everyone in the world has been in the music business for more than 2 minutes has heard of the Shure 58. Like, everyone needs one. We've all got to get one. They're just brilliant. Now, I don't work for them. There's no skin in the game, but wouldn't it be great if every time someone bought a Shure SM58, I got $2? I mean, isn't that cool? Which is exactly what you're talking about, Mike, isn't it?
That's $100 US.
Yeah. Let's just say this. So I'm riffing just to make a point, but Lane, if you want to come in, I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'll send you a link in a minute. This format is incredibly difficult to do on your own. Like, I'm right at the edge of my skill set, managing the comments and adding links and talking. It's very difficult, but we're having fun and it's good. So I'm going to keep doing it, and we're charting new territory, especially given that today's show is called the Social Audio Soundcheck. Yeah. I don't know if anyone's got some thoughts on the difference between the Samson 2QU and this SM58. That's a very specific comment. Have you heard of these mics, Michael?
I think I had a Shure many years ago when I was doing vocals, but it wouldn't have been this one.
Yeah. So
now, do you have the fancy stand and all that as well, or and the screen thing that goes over your mic so you can't hear breathing and whatnot?
Yeah, I'll talk about that. Actually, I'll talk about this exactly. There's two types of mics. One is called a condenser mic. Usually these are the cheaper ones, although they can be expensive. And these are the ones that most people have. They're called a condenser mic. And this is the one you're talking about, Mike. I have one of these. It actually fell apart. It was a Chinese product. I don't use it anymore. It was a no-name Chinese brand. Looks gorgeous. Like, what a mic. But it fell apart in my hands. And I had what's called a pop filter. It's very apt that we're having this discussion. I had a pop filter and I had this little shield. And the reason I had a shield is that the condenser style mics are very noisy. They pick up a lot of background noise, right? They're very difficult to use in a sort of a noisy setting. Someone's mowing the lawn. There's a builder building a house next door. The dogs bark and kids are screaming in the street. Everything comes out on the tape. Everything, right? Unbelievable. So what I changed to was I changed to the Samsung dynamic mic. And what the dynamic, and I'll demonstrate this for you right now. The dynamic mic only works when it's immediately in front of your mouth. When you get a bit far away, maybe 10 centimeters, you can hear that I'm a lot softer now. I'm still talking at the same volume, but you can't hear me. And what that also means is you can't hear the builder, and you can't hear the helicopter, and you can't hear the kids screaming in the street and the guy doing burnouts on my lawn. Right? That's an exaggeration. He's not doing them today. But as soon as I move it back to my mouth, it's a clear, deep, resonant signal. This is why I love this mic. They're $100, right? And the SM58 is just a better version of that. They're both almost exactly the same. What do you use, Lane? Jump in. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Welcome to the call.
Hey. So I'm starting to use, I've been using Restream as well for these events. I still have some kinks that I'm working through, but as far as a lot of my video calls and webinars, I also use Be Connected. And you were talking about the Amazon, you could set up, the Amazon show or whatever. One nice thing about Be Connected is you can set up 3 buttons on the side of the screen, so people can just click on that. You could set up like your microphone to Amazon link or something and just click on that.
Tell me about this. I've been fascinated to hear your journey there. BeConnected.com. BEEKONNE. Tell us about it. I don't know I don't know if a lot of people know about it.
So
I'd love to hear about it.
It's primarily a few things. One thing is it's a Zoom alternative, so you can do video calls. And of course, the main difference is very, very similar to Zoom in a lot of ways. If you're using the free version of Zoom, of course, it cuts you off at 40 minutes. 30 minutes in, a message pops up, hey, you got 10 more minutes because you're using the free version of Zoom. And of course, that can be embarrassing if you're on with a good client or something, and they're like, oh, you're using the free version, great. But the one nice thing about Be Connected is it gives you 60 minutes for free, so you have a little more time for the free version. And then you have these 3 buttons on the side of the screen. You can set them up to whatever you want. So if you have a affiliate link, if you have a book or a course for sale or whatever it is, or you just want someone to go to your website, or even let's say you're running out of time on that video call, you have to jump off. You can say, hey, I have this button set up on the bottom left. Just click on that and it'll take you to my calendar and you can set up another appointment. So you could end the call and those buttons still work post call. So after the call, those buttons would still work.
Wow, this would actually work really, really well for a Go Brunch after party. Have you been using Go Brunch?
I have used that a little bit as well. Yes, I have used Go Brunch. That's a great platform as well. Let's see. The other thing that Be Connected has is it has its own social media, so similar to like Facebook or LinkedIn. But the difference is it has more of like a Netflix or YouTube style where you see a bunch of posts at once, so you can quickly choose the one that you like. It has something called the Connection Generator, which is an AI way to match you with potential clients. So you put in keywords, they put in keywords, and then those match together, and you're connected with those people. And then it has a platform for online courses. And so if someone wanted to sell courses, they can do that on Be Connected as well. So that's some of the highlights of Be Connected. So.
Well, let's give everyone a chance to hear about this. I've had a look at it. I'm very impressed. Do you have a Restream type product where I can stream out from Be Connected? I'm very happy to try it.
It's interesting. Right now, it's more of so they did have that option at one point. They actually had hired, they had outsourced or purchased the platform from a third party, and so they did have that at one point. But they decided that they wanted to do and create their own platform, and so they don't currently have the restreaming option right now. I think that eventually they will have that again. Right now, it's more of a video call, like a Zoom alternative right now. So,
well, let's pick up on that. The Zoom alternative is it's 60 minutes for free as opposed to
Right.
40 minutes for free. If
Exactly.
you do decide to upgrade, what do you get for the upgrade, and how much does the upgrade cost?
Yeah, so it's $49.95 for an upgrade, and with that, you have unlimited time. You have access to to the courses if you wanted to sell courses, things like that. Unlimited time, and then you have access, of course, to all the social media and that too. The main difference is you have access to the three. So for the free buttons, you only have one. For the free version, you only have one button on the side. So for the $49.95, you have the 3 buttons, and basically other bells and whistles. They also have, if you want to upgrade to an additional $49.95, they have a let's see here. They have an option where instead of so they have a CRM option. So instead of having to type in, let's say that you had a video call where you're tracking people and you're entering all that data into your CRM. They have an option where if you have a video call, it will actually track all the people that join your video calls, and then it adds that automatically and updates that, and that way you don't have to retype all that data in, names, phone numbers, emails, things like that. So that can save time as well. So there's a few different, really nice options.
Let's have. Oh, this is good. A good discussion. One of the things we love about this show is that we get a chance to try new things. Americo, do you want to jump in and tell us? Do you use Zoom, and have you found some restrictions? And could you imagine, say, this being an alternative? Have you heard of it?
This is the first I'm hearing of it. I'm so happy that I jumped on when I did. I've been shoveling snow most of the day, but yeah, I'm online right now taking a peek at this, and it definitely piqued my interest and my curiosity. I can't wait because I know you're going to test it, Keith, because that's what you do best, and I'm excited to see the benefits that this brings. In terms of Zoom, I haven't used Zoom other than the conventional ways that it's been used in my working capability and capacity. I've kind of stuck to Restream. I do use Microsoft Teams for my conversations with prospects and clients outside of this platform, but Zoom has never really grown on me. I know a lot of people have a different opinion and they love Zoom, but I'm a Microsoft guy. I pay for the whole.
You like Microsoft Teams?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a very important sort of thing. This is Be Connected with a B and a K, BEE. I'm sending everyone on the call a screenshot of this. I'm going to send this to you, Mike, in a minute. I'm just trying to find you on LinkedIn. Hello to Marcello. Jump in if you want to talk. I think we're connected. I'll send you a link in a minute. How does Be Connected differ from Microsoft Teams, Lane? This is another really cool discussion to have. What do you think?
Yeah, the main thing, it has those 3 buttons on the side of the screen, so you can see. It was just there, but so you can set it up to link with virtually anything you want. So if you have something for sale, if you would like to invite someone to go to your website, if you want to have someone be able to click on that to go to your calendar, whatever your offer is, whatever you would like them to have the opportunity to go to or accept an offer or click on something very simply to go to where you're inviting them to go. That's really the biggest thing, is it has those 3 buttons that will
Lane,
instantly take them.
Are those 3 buttons per call, or can I change them within the call?
Yeah, you can actually change them within the call. So let's say, for example, someone has a business during the day that they're running, and maybe they have a side hustle at night, or maybe they do charity work for an organization. You can actually set up the theme put your logo on there, set up these buttons, and you can actually set it up so that you can instantly click on it to go to a whole other different, background and separate buttons. So yeah, you can have multiple buttons if you'd like to be able to, have someone very, very simply go to whatever your offer is or your website or whatever you would like them to simply click on and go to.
Now the links, can you have links in the chat like Zoom?
Yes, it does have a chat also. So if you want to put something in the chat, you can. Although once you set up the buttons, they're so much easier that you don't have to mess with the chat for a button like that. But yes, you can.
Well, because I'm on a networking call, and one of the things we use the chat for is just to post. You have like a small blurb about who you are and your LinkedIn contact and whatnot. So we just actually kind of use that. But if you had a CRM, well, I'm assuming that the call members can access the CRM, right?
The call members. Well, for the CRM, that's a paid upgrade, and so yeah, the people that would use the CRM are people that have that particular option set up.
Oh, so okay, so as a client on the call, meaning the whatever you call it, the guest, and I paid for the upgrade, I could download the names and information about the callers, or
Well, basically, if you're the host,
Okay.
and you're inviting people to your video calls, then yeah, you can download those. If you're a guest, you really wouldn't have
Right.
that option. It's basically just for your own calls that you're hosting.
I like that though, to be able to grab, because one of the challenges that we ran into, and I don't know if anyone else has run into this, we had disruptors come in and disrupt our meetings, and so we had to go through a kind of convoluted registration process pre-call.
Yeah.
So CRM might kind of get around that, and you'd have to obviously post on your website or whatever to get into the CRM. But question: do you have breakout rooms?
Yes, there are breakout rooms, so you can
Okay.
you can set that up to have individual rooms also.
I love this. I just really love this. I'm let me just get my head around it. So for the free version, you only have one of these icons on the side, and the calls can be 1 hour. But you could hypothetically say, look, we've had a chat for an hour. If you want to keep going, just click on my link there and we'll take you to the Go Brunch room and we'll do a bit of an after party to keep it going. That makes sense because an hour is probably probably plenty of time for people. Is there any limit to the amount of people on stage? Is that a free version that you can upgrade to, or is it just a standard 100 people? How many people can you have on the call?
You can have, if you have the paid version, you can have in excess of 100 people.
And what about the free version?
The free version. Now you're asking me a question.
I mean, the reason I asked, Lane, is that most people, there's a lot of pieces of tech out there, and we have to try the free version first to see if we like it.
Right.
Whether it'll work on our system. The information that I have is that you've got a 1995 product. Is that no longer available?
That is an option as well, just depending on you can have the $49.95 or the $19.95 option. There are those different options, exactly.
Yeah. So from what I can tell, and I'll send this, I might even put this on the screen. The free version allows 50 attendees for 60 minutes. And it says you've got 3 call to action buttons and 2 of them are customizable. Oh, yeah?
Yes, exactly.
For $19.95, you get 250 people on the call, unlimited time, and 3 action buttons. 2 of them are customizable. And for $49.95, you can have up to 500 people on the call for unlimited time. So the free version allows 50 people for 1 hour, and you can customize one of the buttons.
Yes, that's correct.
That's a great offer. You can see it, you can try it. I've tried things that are great that they're free, but they don't work on my system. Like they just my system won't hold the bandwidth. And we tried one last week. I'll talk about this in a minute. EV Mux. I felt like I was playing a game of Space Invaders. It was pretty horrible.
Right.
But nothing against that site, just didn't work for me. So I don't need to upgrade to their paid version because I didn't like it.
Sure.
But the basic version at $19.95, I'm guessing that's US, allows for up to 250 people and 3 call to action buttons, two of which could be customizable, and there's no time limit. Now that's $20. $20.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
got to be comparable to what you get from Zoom. It's got to be a very, 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 very compelling offer. What do you think, guys? Tell us about your experiences with Zoom. That sounds like a pretty compelling offer to me.
Me too. I never saw that amount of for free. For free, having 60 minutes and having 50 people at the same time, while on Zoom for free you are limited for 45 minutes and with I don't know how many people, but probably less than 50. So I think it's really interesting, and I might make some tests, but I don't think I'm going to switch to be connected because I'm already on Go Brunch and Restream, and it's enough. One thing I would like also to say before I yield the mic, because I'm going to sleep right now, is that the most important is to make a decision to see if there are, like Keith was saying that already, to not have your eggs in the same basket, in case, to have backup plans and to have backups, and also to focus on your audience. Your audience, in fact, I don't know if it's true or no, but your audience doesn't care if you are using this or that or this or that. Your audience wants to hear from you. What is your expertise? And are you going to move them from A to B? So that's what I want to share. Thank you.
I love this. I'll be doing a direct comparison between this site and Go Brunch. I think this will be an end game product. I think I actually shared this slide before, but I probably deleted it. This is our broadcast model. Here we are. We're doing a show. You can join the show if you like. We're making it up as we go. You don't know who I am, but here I am in Melbourne, Australia, and maybe one day we'll work together. Maybe. But you don't know that yet because you've never heard of me. But once you have heard of me, I want you to come to my shows. Right? And where do I send people once that happens? Could be Go Brunch. It could be Connected. It could be that. So this is what Be Connected looks like. 50 people, 60 minutes. This is what Go Brunch looks like. And they're direct competitors now. I'm very, very excited about this. Is there a lifetime deal, Lane, or have you moved past that model?
There's not currently. Some of the early adopters did have that option, but that's not currently an option, at least.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. It's something that only happens in the very early stages. So I want to have this discussion directly. So LinkedIn is this. You send it out, and I did this exactly for tomorrow's show. I sent out 1,000 leads. Please come to my show. Please, please, please come to my show. And good night, Ollie. Thanks so much for all your great comments. And 100 people said, yeah, I'll come. 100 people say, yeah, that sounds pretty cool. I'll come. 10 people actually come. 10 people. And that's a very common marketing model. But then once you've got them, where do you take them? We can take them to Go Brunch, but now we can take them to Be Connected. We've got a new option. I'm very excited that you came on the show, Lane, because I want to test this. It's very reasonable. $20, 250 people, unlimited time. 3 buttons on the side, two of which are are adjustable. Which one isn't adjustable? Lane, do you know the one at the top or?
Yeah, it's usually the one at the top, right?
Okay. So that's
And
your
I just want-
branding, your own personal sort of one that stays there all the time. Yeah.
Right. And I do want to verify what you just said. That's been my experience as well. You invite 1,000 people, 100 people say they're interested, and then 10 people actually show up. That's about how the numbers usually work. I've noticed too.
Yeah. What about you, Chris? Do you want to pick up on this? Do you send out a lot of invitations and get a bit despondent when people don't come?
No, I definitely don't get despondent. I'm in sales to begin with, so like I understand the pipeline and exactly what to expect. The fact that I had, 30 something people roll through my first show, I thought was, pretty good, honestly, like for a very first show, even if it was over the course of an hour and a half. So for me, even though I sent out 1,000 invites and had Kenny, who I'm going to give a shout out to, who's the best at always, being an advocate live, not just pre-show, but during the show of sending out invites. It's how we got so many people here. So it's always important to have like a great friend like Kenny. But like, I'm not shocked by it. It's just, it is what it is. Like, there's so many shows that I sign up for that I have true intentions of going to in the moment. And by the time the showtime gets there, life happens and, conflict, and I can't attend for whatever reason. I get disappointed. I go to the restream. And that's why I'm so glad we have these shows recorded, because I'll be able to, sometimes every once in a while it gets to a part of the conversation you don't want to hear. So you just hit fast forward. And I've already noticed on my YouTube, my first show, I've already got like 2 or 3 restreams, or 3 people watch there, and
Yeah.
30 something watch live, and however many watched on like live on Instagram. It was pretty cool just to see the numbers, like the amount of people we're able to reach every single time we're on here. It's awesome.
Yeah, well, imagine, and I'll pick up on this in a minute, Lane. Imagine if you had a call and you had a button you can push to go somewhere else, like an affiliate link, an after party, a website, an event. Imagine if you could embed a link inside the show with an icon. That's pretty clever. So, Lane, I want to bring you in on this. Can you record these shows, and do the icons work in the recording?
Yes, you can record the show, and then like if someone watches the replay the next day, those recordings will still work. The other thing you can do is you can have any kind of a paid, if you have something that you're selling, something that you have to offer that's paid, you can have that set up to your payment link as well, and you can hear that. You can almost hear that cha-ching, cha-ching as you're doing that.
Yeah, Mike, this is exactly what you're saying, isn't it? Imagine if I had a link to that microphone and you said, look, I do need a microphone. Why don't I just go and get that one? Imagine if we had a link to that microphone and you need a microphone and you just clicked it and you got it. That's bloody genius, isn't it?
I still want it more embedded. So it's cool to have those buttons on the side, meaning I would have to. My thing is, like, a lot of what I do or want to do would be graphic oriented. So like when I do presentations, it's usually in PowerPoint. I'd love to get off of PowerPoint, but it's just, for now, it's the tool I'm using. And I was very disappointed, by the way, to find out how poorly Copilot works with PowerPoint. But anyway, that's beside the point. So what I'm wanting, like most things, is more intelligence in my tools. So I'd want to be able to have that, like you had that beautiful picture of the mic, the first one where it's your story block or whatever. I'd want to be able to say, yeah, and that's Shure, and all you have to do is click on it and go to Amazon or whatever as an affiliate or whatever it is.
Yeah. So we're now starting to play on this. Lane, do you have live shows, or do some of your clients have live shows where they indeed sell some of these products? What do you think? I mean, are you doing a bit of that? I think we lost him. That's okay. I'm pretty gobsmacked by this. The free version allows 50 people on stage, 3 links on the side, 2 of which can be um, completely changed for your purposes, and you can have 60 minutes for free. Now, can you imagine, and I'll do a show with Richard about this, if one of those shows was a Go Brunch after party? I would be really up for that. We've chatted for an hour. If you're still going, let's have an after party. One question I need to know, Elaine, is can you have your thumbnail rather than your image, or do you have to have your video on?
So you can have what it does instead of a thumbnail, it will put your initials there. So you can either have your live video, or you can basically have your initials. At least is the current setup.
Okay, so no thumbnail.
No thumbnail currently.
Okay, no worries. Is that on the cards? Has anyone asked for that? Has anyone requested that?
I haven't had anybody request that yet, but that's an idea. Now, the one thing with the stage that they're in, the kind of the nice thing is, they are open to suggestions or options. And so, for example, at one point they had the chat, and at one stage they didn't have a way to capture the chat other than copying and pasting. And someone brought that up, that would be nice to be able to capture the chat. And so a week later they actually put that in. And so now some things are going to take longer than a week, basically, depending on the work that they have to do. And if it costs so many dollars, they may have to put that off. But they are at a stage where if it's something that's not too challenging, doesn't cost too much to update it, some things they can update within a week. So that's definitely an option that they would probably consider.
Yeah.
Lane, I have a workaround for you for the. It's a bit involved, but a workaround for you for the for your picture. You could have a background that has your picture on it, and then not turn you have your camera. Let's see. That's a good question. I have to remember. I've done this before though, where I have a cover for my camera, but I have the background up, so you see a picture of me, and I can talk without being seen, and I have my picture on the background.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that could be an option for sure.
The reason this is important is that did you ever take part in the LinkedIn audio events?
I did. Yes, I did. I participated in a lot of them, and then I did some myself as well.
And were you disappointed when they went away? And what have you done since?
Yeah, I have been disappointed. And as far as attending, other people use Restream or a few different options. And I've been using Restream myself, although I'm still trying to work through a few kinks myself, but it does seem to be, for the most part, working so far.
Yeah, and I mean, we don't need to reinvent the wheel, but if for instance, Be Connected could be an additional strategy, it would be very, very cool, because with LinkedIn audio events, this is why I'm asking about thumbnails. I don't go to Zoom anymore. I never show my camera, not because I'm an ugly person or I can't be bothered. I just don't want the hassle of having to put my video on. I just don't want to. I'm over it. I'm over the idea of putting my video on now. So I haven't used Zoom in 2 years, really, because I just don't want to put my camera on anymore. So thumbnails in this format allows us to have these really cool features and these conversations without having to, like, I'm still a real person. Like, I'm not hiding out. I just can't be bothered putting my video on. And I think it'd be very good if if the feature had the ability to have thumbnails. What am I the only one that is very dogged about this, or is everyone else sick and tired of putting their video on? What do you think, Mike? Are you sick of it?
Well, I've dealt with circles where trauma has occurred, and so there's a reason not to turn the camera on. So I have to be sensitive to that. So I think, like I'm in a very small and intimate group where they want the camera on, and I'm like, well, there's nights that I don't really feel like being on camera, and I would like the option, to be frank with you. And I understand the idea, because I think there's about 6 people in that group, and I understand that with that small of a group, it can be a little more intimate. But at the same time, I do realize that there are circumstances where people want their privacy. And to your point, I think also because of COVID and such, that people got burnt out on being in front of their cameras, for a long time. And I just wanted to comment on some of these apps and use cases, because when I was on Teams, we were kind of forced to be on Teams all the time, meaning we actually had to have it on and then respond to mostly text. Now, obviously, you can use Teams for video calls as well, but I think that when it comes down to it, I think each one of these apps is going to have a place. Like, I can see using Go Brunch for smaller groups, and then the one we were looking at, Be Connected, for larger ones. In fact, I'm also on Slack, but the problem is the free version of Slack doesn't allow you to. You can do what they call huddles, but you can only do 2 people with the free version. And I forget what the pay version is. It gets kind of expensive pretty quick. So it's nice to have these low or no cost options, for each of these use cases.
Yeah. In order to try something, you've got to be able to try it for free just to see if it works.
Yep.
You're not going to pay $50 a month for something you've never tried before. You're just not going to do it. There's already Zoom. Zoom is 40 minutes. It's free, one-on-one. That's enough, maybe. But I'm very excited by what's possible here, and I'm definitely going to do some shows about it. And but I wouldn't be that excited. I definitely wouldn't be putting my camera on. I definitely would not. So that's an impediment to me, because I'm an audio guy, and I've got friends of mine that say, look, no is a complete sentence. You've asked me if I want to put my camera on. The answer is no. There's no discussion. The answer is no. And if you don't want it, I'll just leave. So some people won't attend meetings if they have to have their video on, and I won't. I won't attend meetings because I work for myself. I can do what I want. I won't attend meetings if I have to have my video on. I just will not. What do you think, Chris? Do you think there's a place for the thumbnail idea, or do you think I'm being a little bit sort of precious?
No, I definitely think there's a place for it, because I think with anything you want to know like who you're talking to. Otherwise, it just feels too techy, too technology, too unpersonal. Seeing initials, like I don't know, for me, like especially whatever company I've worked at, large companies, small companies, even smaller companies, it's initials. It's like if somebody, you have turnover, new people are working, or somebody just got hired, you don't know who the initials are, and it leads to a barrier with just knowing who's on your team, knowing who you're talking to. I'd rather see a face. It just makes it feel more human. But at the end of the day, like all this technology, all these conversations, my honest take on it is really simple. There's cases for both. There's cases for being on camera, cases for not being on camera. I don't understand this CEO of Jamie Dimon is going nuts about going back to work and all that stuff. Like at the end of the day, like if you're getting your job done, get your job done. If you're productive, be productive. Or if you're hosting a social event, whatever it is, like if you don't want to be on camera for whatever reason, we shouldn't make people feel uncomfortable who don't want to be on camera. especially if it's a voluntary participation. Like just go in and do whatever you want, and it really just depends on the situation, I guess. It's
Yeah, the thing that I've noticed, I've done research about this. It's not about me. I've noticed that the discussions are much more dynamic when people don't have their cameras on. I've just noticed that people are more open. The conversations are more interesting. I've just noticed that because I've done both. And I don't know if that's me making this up, but what do you think, Mike? Would you agree with that? Would you be more open to having a conversation if you didn't have to show your video, or is it a bit irrelevant?
Well, I wanted to add a comment which we hadn't brought up yet, and that is, at scale, the video doesn't make a lot of sense. I attend a rather large meeting on Thursday nights. It can have up to 400 or 500 people. Now, all of those don't have their cameras, but let's just say a quarter of those. So that's 100 people that are on camera. I can't take in, and it's it's paginated. So now I have to see a picture, unless I have an AI tool that I could, say search for, schmo. I think to Chris's point, I think it really depends on what you're trying to do, and what the purpose of the meeting is. But at scale, I just don't think it works very well. So I on the internet, that's the other thing. This is going out on the internet. I would prefer to stay off video on the internet. I'm fine with being on video, like on Discord.
I think that's actually what I'm really the essence of what I'm saying. Like, I am myself. You can see my name, but we're chatting in a very informal way. But if my camera was on, I'd just shut up. I mean, I just wouldn't talk. Me, me. I mean, you know that I'm talking. I'm a talker. But if my video was on, I would just find reasons not to come on camera. I just find reasons. The phone's ringing. There's someone at the door. I got to mow my lawn. There's a guy at the front doing burnouts on my lawn. I've got to go and talk to him. I'd find a million reasons not to come on camera, because that's just the way we are. Some of us. And it's interesting, Lane. You can mention this to the guys. This is the first time we're actually chatting about this site, and to me, it's a bit of an oversight. But they just probably haven't thought of it, because what I'd really love to know is, what does this site do that Zoom doesn't? Because that's really your main competitor. People that want to leave Zoom because they're sick of it. What does this site do that Zoom doesn't?
Yeah, that's a great question. The biggest thing is it has those 3 buttons that convert or invite people to whatever your offer is. The other thing is it actually has an affiliate program. So I don't know about you, but Zoom has never paid me anything. But I get a weekly check on Be Connected. So that's the other big thing, along with some of the other things like it has its own social media, it has online courses, things like that. But those are the 2 main things: is the 3 buttons that make things very simple, and then has an affiliate, so you can actually get paid by sharing it.
And of course, the third one is you can speak for an hour for free, as opposed to 45 minutes.
Yes,
that
exactly.
might actually be enough.
Yeah.
What do you think, Mike? Is that enough? Do you think those couple of things are worth getting off Zoom for and trying it?
I'm actually trying to sign up. Lane, if you can send me your referral link. I don't know if you get credit for referrals, but
yeah, I'll actually put that in the.
I'll be happy to sign up. I'm definitely going to look at it. If nothing else, I'm in a Slack group where we're having issues with Google Meet. So this could be a potential replacement. So yes, I'm definitely going to be looking at it.
Yeah. What do you think, Chris? Is that a sufficient enticement to try to get off Zoom? An hour instead of 60 minutes, 3 buttons on the side, an affiliate link. I reckon that's probably worth trying it.
Yeah, you know how my brain works. I'm going to explore every tool. So at some point in the next month, I guarantee you I'll be doing a Zoom show with my website up there and, a link to my newsletter to sign up for the newsletter so that this way everybody can interact with me live one-on-one, maybe ask some med tech questions, maybe some AI questions, maybe some questions about the NGO, and, just have some links up to all of it. So and the thing I kind of like about the 60-minute time limit, honestly, if you want to get out at 60 minutes, even sometimes you don't want to leave and the discussion's amazing, but every once in a while you get stuck in a show, or somebody's talking about something you're not quite interested in. That 60 minutes really does give you like, all right, I'm only in it for an hour.
Yeah, I love it. Now, one thing I want to pick up on, and Zoom is not doing this particularly well, but this concept of avatars, taking the thumbnail up a notch. This is what I currently look like. It's a pretty accurate representation. This is where Zoom is for that. It's nowhere near it, but it's nowhere near it. This photo was taken in Hawaii. So when I do my Zoom calls with what's called a Zoom avatar, my mouth moves when I talk. Now, this is as close as they can get to this look at the moment, 2025. But I think in many ways, this is going to be the future of a certain segment who don't want to go on video. As I said, many people have said no is a complete sentence. I'm not going on video. If you want me to go on video, I'm not attending. Right? Now, that's not appropriate for people that are doing this for work. But I've got to be honest, I'm sick and tired of being on video. During the COVID time, we were on video all day. It was exhausting. So this is how Zoom does it. They call it the Zoom avatar. Is there some discussion, Lane, about adding this feature as well? You mustn't have yet come across people that don't want to come on video. I'm guessing you haven't had that discussion.
Well, I have had that, and it's actually, what is this program called that we're looking at here? Is this called Zoom Avatar, or what's that called?
This is the Zoom's avatar feature. Zoom has an avatar feature built in. You can also do it on Microsoft Teams. Well, one thing we haven't chatted about is I don't use Microsoft Teams at all, but apparently it's quite good.
Because there is one particular person that he actually haven't seen him on Be Connected for a while. But every time he was on a video call or webinar, anything like that on Be Connected, he always did one of those avatars. So I don't know what program he used, but he did that on Be Connected as well. But I know Be Connected itself doesn't currently have that, but apparently there's some kind of a program that this certain individual was using for that.
Yeah, and look, I think there's a certain amount of people in the world that say, look, I do want to talk to you. I do want to be part of your calls, but you know what? I just can't be bothered going on video. And this is what Microsoft Teams looks like. This is how Microsoft Teams does it, right? They're cartoonized versions of ourselves. What does Microsoft Teams do in this environment? I don't use it at all. I have no experience with it. What is it like? Has anyone got any experience with Microsoft Teams to pick up on how it differs from, say, Zoom or Slack, or indeed Be Connected? What do you think? Have you tried it, Lane? Did you have a direct comparison?
I have not tried an avatar myself.
No, but have you tried? I mean, what does Microsoft Teams do? Do you use it?
I usually just use it if somebody specifically invites me to it. I don't usually use it myself.
Yeah. And what is it like as a user?
I mean, it's similar in some respects to, Zoom or Be Connected. I don't know all the features, like I say, because I just pretty much use it when anyone specifically invites me with their link to it.
And I mean, jump in.
I could actually chime in on this. I use Teams all the time, and I would say it's more of a co-working environment than it is a presentation environment. Obviously most people do use it for meetings, but you can, to pick up on what Mike was saying earlier, during COVID, a lot of people had it up and running constantly. And it's one of the ways that, at least at one of the companies or the organizations I was with at the time, you can have it open and constantly basically just use it almost as an instant messenger, like AOL Instant Messenger back in the day, or a DM back and forth here on LinkedIn. You could do group messaging, you could do one-on-one. And then if you say you're talking to somebody back and forth in a DM and you got to get something, a point across, you could just hop on a video chat real quick, and all of a sudden, and it's like, oh, okay, well, maybe we need like Emily from accounting in here. Why don't you invite her into the meeting? And then boom, you could just ping Emily from accounting. And then so you could just add people to the call as you go. And it's, I don't know, for me, it's just definitely more like, I see it more of a, I just see how it's used from a corporate standpoint. So maybe I'm just conditioned that way. But I mean, it could absolutely be used in a really fun, interactive way with an audience, the way they'd be able to pop in and out. But it would almost have to be like a group user plan. It would be really difficult with the logistics.
Just to add to what Chris was saying, I think we used it extensively at my last position, and it's connected with SharePoint. So you can use with SharePoint and Office. You can actually do like document multiple people in the same document at the same time.
Yep.
So you can collab that way. You can do, like Chris was saying, we used it primarily as this always on chat type of thing. And you can, of course, call, you can do a voice call from the chat box, or as Chris mentioned, one-on-one chats, or you can add another, you can add another person to the video call, or you just create a meeting. So it's very keyed in. It's also connected with your calendar and your email. So it's very integrated with the rest of Microsoft's products.
Yeah, the reason why this is important is that any new person to any given site will always compare it to what they're currently using.
Mm.
Look, I already have Microsoft Teams. Why do I need Be Connected? I've already got Microsoft Teams. Why am I doing this? And I get that, because that's the question I always get. So I'll be definitely testing this. One thing I might add, there's 2 people have actually sent this link to YouTube. So which of you did that? Did you do that, Chris and Lane? Who did that? Who was sent the show to LinkedIn or to YouTube?
I know I have done sent the link on like YouTube, Instagram, pretty much most of the other platforms. I've put that on there.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
perfect. That's perfect.
So I'm going to YouTube right now, and I believe I'm going to. I think I needed a key that I forgot to grab from my Instagram because I only joined 3 minutes before the show. But theoretically, if I hopped in 2 minutes earlier, I would have had time to link that key, and we'd be on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube right now.
Yeah. Now, this is fundamentally what we're talking about today, and most importantly, tomorrow. We are doing a multi-streaming show. We are, and I've actually got rid of that link. Oh, here it is there. We are live streaming. At the moment, we are live streaming to LinkedIn and at least YouTube and several others. And we have the ability to stream to up to 30 different places at one time. I'm so excited about this. And we are talking about this tomorrow on the show. We're going to pull it apart. We're going to compare Restream to StreamYard and Streamlabs and, all these different sites. It's a different idea. But what I wanted to pick up on, Mike, is this idea of Microsoft Teams. I've never used it. And because I work for myself, I don't really need to. But my wife uses it all day, every day. It's a sort of a communication tool internally for businesses, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but one of the things to remember, so I look at 2 use cases. So I've been on video interviews that I got a link, Teams invite for, but you're missing like a lot of the value, in my opinion, if you're using it strictly for that and a video conference. Because like I said, to me, its value is all this other collaboration capability, and so it really does very well in the enterprise.
Yeah, look, tell me about that. Why is it so, like everyone I talk to says, "Oh, mate, I don't need that. I use Microsoft Teams." So it's not just a call; it's the idea that it links to all the other Microsoft's products. It
Yep.
means that you can actually talk to people while you're doing other things. It's an always on product, isn't it?
Well, let's say yes, but let's say I have an interview. Well, I can have a SharePoint folder with your resume. I can potentially have interview notes, or depending on how mature the company is, I can have like we did these interview grading sheets or whatever. There were forms. So if you're again, I think the value in Teams is all this, all the connections to all the other applications, and the fact that in the enterprise, it's collaborative. I mean, back in the day, not that long ago, before Teams came out, you could, yes, you could kind of write on the same document, but someone had to close it, and inevitably you were. Actually, before we got our SharePoint working properly, I would have to team message the guy to get out of the document so that I could work on it, because oftentimes we were working on the same document, because there was a rush to get the document out, whatever it was.
Yeah. Okay, so it didn't have the bandwidth that you could both update it while you were on it. It was one or the other.
In the old version, before the new version has SharePoint behind it. So you could still have SharePoint, but the point is, back in the day, we had shared drives, shared Windows drives or server drives,
Yeah.
and so only one person could be in the document at a time. When they brought the Teams, maybe it was Office 365 with SharePoint behind that, then you could have multiple editors.
Genius. So I'm guessing that Be Connected is a site unto itself, which has an inherent value because it's not owned by anyone else, right? But it also has inherent disadvantages in the sense that it's a standalone product that doesn't work with anything else. So it's a double-edged sword, isn't it?
Yep.
I'm really keen to try it, but what we're talking about here is we're talking about Be Connected versus Microsoft Teams. This is a pretty interesting discussion. This is what Be Connected looks like. It's a free site, 50 people on stage for free, 3 buttons that are live in the call while you're on the call, 1 hour for free. Works mainly as a video on solution, doesn't have an avatar feature and or doesn't have a thumbnail feature yet, but worth trying. This is what Microsoft Teams looks like in the same format. You can have an avatar on Microsoft Teams. It looks pretty cool. And this is what the Zoom version looks like. Right. So we are now comparing directly 3 very different sites that do very similar things. Be Connected, Zoom, Microsoft Teams. I'm going to try them all. Like, as you know, that's what my show's about. And I haven't warmed to Microsoft Teams, and but if people like it, I will try it. And the most important thing is that we're actually talking about multi-streaming today. We're sending the site to LinkedIn and to YouTube, and Margaret is in the call. So I'd very much like you to join us, Margaret, and tell us what you're thinking. We can have up to 10 people on stage. We've been going 2.5 hours. What I might do is play a little sound and give people a permission to leave if they want to. Sometimes people are too polite to put their hand up to leave. I'm going to play a little sound. If you need to leave, I won't be offended. And this is our little opportunity to reboot. Okay, so we've been going 2.5 hours, and we are on the sound check, or the social audio sound check. We've covered a lot of ground, and here's what we're talking about. We're talking about live streaming. This is what we're talking about tomorrow, live streaming. We're talking about multi-streaming, and the guys on the call are talking about that. We're talking about Go Brunch. We're talking about Be Connected. Now, there's a lot of tools here. They're all good. They're all awesome. And you probably don't have time to do them all, but they've all got their benefits and their downsides, and some of them have a cost, and that's important to know. You probably couldn't afford to have all of them going at one time. You wouldn't need Be Connected and Microsoft Teams, for instance, or you wouldn't need Restream and StreamYard, for instance. So let's pick up on maybe the highlights. Mike, what do you think of the main points we've talked about so far, and is there anything that I've missed?
No, I think I would return to the use cases, right? So, and then restreaming, just a couple things on restreaming. I found out that I had a branded account and it's not in my name. So I have to figure out, part of this is sorting out how you're going to use it, right? And because I've used YouTube forever, but if it's a branded account, which I don't remember creating it as such, then there's certain things you can and can't do. So I'm gonna have to sort all that out. But it goes back to
What
me
site are you
about
talking
use
about?
cases.
Which site are you talking about?
Sorry, YouTube. So if I'm gonna, I would want to have sort of a more professional branded site for if I'm gonna stream to YouTube.
I getcha. Now let's have that discussion. Last week we tried a site called EV Mux, which I thought reminded me of a Commodore 64 in 1986. Now, I didn't have a Commodore 84 then, but I've got mates of mine that did. And I've seen renders of what the internet used to look like before Google. And it was bloody horrible. And this is sort of what you're saying, Mike. If you're going to go to the trouble of putting stuff on the internet, you want it to look good, don't you? You want to look professional, don't you?
Well, and I think that's like, and I want to talk with Richard a little more, but I like the immersive idea of Go Brunch, but there's something still in the back of my mind. I don't know if it's the circles. I don't know exactly what it is, but I'm having to sort out exactly how I would do that, because years ago I ran a GUI bulletin board, and I know I'm dating myself. And so the reason it was more immersive, because before then you just had all text. It was just very boring. To your point, it looked like it was done on a Commodore 64. So I like that idea of immersiveness, and we've already talked about Discord and building community. So again, there seems to be a number of use cases that I think we need to keep in the back of our mind. Is, are we just going to run a podcast? Is it visual, or is it visual and audio, or audio only? And do we want to build a community, sort of visual community, or more like a Discord where, I mean, you can do all three and it's threaded and so on. So I think a lot of this really depends on, you have to sort of figure out where you want to go with this communication, and then launch.
Yeah, look, I might bring Lane in on this. Do you have a podcast or do you live stream, Lane? What's your mechanism for getting the word out about what you do? How do you do it? Do you have a blog? Do you have a podcast? Do you have a video channel? What do you do?
Yeah, I pop in on LinkedIn every once in a while. I have a recording or a live event from time to time. I do a lot of social media posting on not only LinkedIn but Facebook and most of the other platforms, and then I do a lot of local networking groups as well.
Do you have a show? Do you have content? Do you create content?
Yes, I do. I do create content. I typically on Friday. Well, for my time, 12:30 Fridays. I probably won't do it this coming Friday because I have something going on. But typically Fridays at 12:30 my time or 2:30 Eastern. I typically have some kind of a video live show or something going on at that time usually.
Yeah, tell me how you do that. Tell me about that story. How do you do that?
Well, I for a time I was doing audio events, and then I started going to video events, and I'm still working out. You know, every once in a while I have some kind of a kink that pops up, so I'm still kind of, you know, fixing things from time to time. But if nothing else, I'll at least have a video going. I'm still trying to work on the participation part, like what you're doing here. You know, as far as being able to have people, you know, actively engage.
Yeah, well, what I'll mention here, I don't know if you've seen this feature. This is the closest thing I've found to the LinkedIn audio events. This format here looks almost identical to LinkedIn audio events with the circles. It's not exact, but it's pretty good. And the LinkedIn audio events or the LinkedIn live events can have up to 10 people. We've got 5 on at the moment, so we could do a lot with this. So I'd be interested to see you do a show this way, because LinkedIn audio events are very missed. They're sorely missed, and I'm going to bring in Margaret about this. How are you adjusting to that sort of vacuum that LinkedIn created? What are you doing, Margaret? How are you doing your shows to fill in for this? Are you using Go Brunch? Are you using Restream? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Hi, Keith. Thank you so much. Hi, guys. Hi, Lee. Hi, everybody. Yeah, I'm using Go Brunch and then just using Restream to bring out like the events and the jam and everything. So yeah, that's how we're doing it. It seems to be working out pretty good. Richard's got it down packed as usual. You know, he's so tech savvy, so like you. So, but that's what we're doing. I am really, you know, Go Brunch just works for me all the way around. So I don't have any complaints at all about it. And now that they have us, you know, now that we can see who's online, that's even, you know, another cool feature that they're adding. And I like growing with them, and I'm sure you feel the same way. So
This is actually a really good
Thank you.
discussion. Someone's got a noisy mic on there. I'm thinking someone's watching the show, and they've got their mic nearby. I don't know who that is, but I'll come back to you on that. Just trying to guess. It's not me. It must be you, Margaret. Have you got your mic on, and is it feeding back through the laptop? I think it is. There. I want to pick up on what Margaret just said. This is an amazing feature you probably don't know. It's called Online Friends. Now, I want to pick up on this. We're going to do a whole show about this on Wednesday. Go Brunch now has this feature that if you don't know what's going on, you can go to Go Brunch and click on a button, and it will tell you where your friends are, people that you know on Go Brunch. Where are they hanging out? Isn't this just the coolest site, Margaret? Isn't this just the coolest idea?
Yeah, I think so, because, you know, you always wondered who was, you know, around, right? Because you're in your room and you're like, I wonder who else is around, you know? Now we know.
So we're going to talk about this in great. There it is again, that echo. So we're going to talk about this at great length. I'm just going to see who that is. Hang on. I've hit a moment where my brain is fried. So just give me a minute. So what I'm going to do with the show on Wednesday, Tuesday in the US, is we are going to pull apart 3 new features that Go Brunch has. This is game-changing tech. One, you can actually see where your friends are on Go Brunch. The people that you are connected with on Go Brunch already, you can see where they are, and you can join their rooms. And they can coincidentally join your rooms. That's one thing. 2, they have this brand new feature called Picture in Picture. Well, it's brand new to them. And they are featuring that. They've just introduced it. It's a matter of having a picture inside a picture. So you can do presentations. That's 2 things. And the third thing, which I'm so excited about, is that they have an onboard inbuilt AI image generator. So if you don't know how to do that and you're not using Midjourney or Microsoft Designer and you don't know anything about that, a Go Brunch has an inbuilt AI generator. Are you using this, Margaret? Because I know you're pretty big on Go Brunch. Have you tried this?
Yes, so we've been doing that when I bring the jam. We've been using that. You can see the picture in picture. It's pretty cool. It is pretty cool. I don't think it comes out on the screen, but you're able to see that, especially when like you pan. Like I will pan to different windows, and I can still see that at the same time. So it's pretty nifty.
Yeah. So there's three new features. I'm going to play with it, Echo. I'm going to make sure I'm going to play with it. I'm going to try and do a little bit of an a cappella thing with myself. That's the only way I can deal with Echo because it's a very major problem with tech. I'm going to do an a cappella thing. So you've got online friends. You've got an inbuilt generator for AI, and you've got picture on picture. Now, let's have this really cool discussion about Go Brunch. Lane, have you tried Go Brunch yet? Do you know what we're talking about here, or is this a bit sort of an off the charts idea for you? Have you been trying Go Brunch? I'd love to know if you've tried it and if you've got any thoughts about it. If not, I'll give him a call. Actually, I'll just give him a call on the rotary. Lane, are you there? What are you doing? Where are you? Come on, man. Now, because Chorito is on the call, I'm actually going to do the rooster call. And there she is. She's on the call. She's calling me back. I can speak rooster. Okay, so it doesn't look like Lane's on the call. Margaret, what do you think? Are you
About the rooster?
No,
Oh,
about the inbuilt. I'm going to try and do an a cappella
with the rooster?
a cappella. I'm going to do a little bit of a sort of a pink thing, or maybe a Lady Gaga. I'm going to sing with myself. Hello. What do you think of the AI generator, Margaret? Have you tried it?
I did, yes. So I use that to, change my rooms around, and I like showing that off too. You get to share your screen and you get to show everybody, and it's just like a wow factor is what I call it, right? So yeah. But it's amazing. Now, I remember the first time you did my room. Keith Keller was actually the one that brought this in room, and that was my very first room back in the summer. Do you remember that, Keith?
You had a little Zen room. I get it.
That's amazing.
I'm just going to play with the echo now because we can't change it. So you had a little Zen room. And what I'd really love to hear is what other people are doing with AI. We have a whole show about this in a couple of weeks. Have you tried the inbuilt AI generator, Chris? Have you tried that? Is that how you generated the room for your Go Brunch rooms?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things I love most about Go Brunch is, how much you can really make it your own. Like Margaret's made her space, like for her jam, so much about like inclusivity and her show and her music. And, like for me, for what I use it for, like, I don't know, like I like that I can personalize it to just turn it into like a little beach bar hangout, which is like so much more like me and my vibe, right? Like, and I grew up with a family that loved going to the Caribbean and going on sailboats occasionally. So like that's like my happy place. So that to me, I can recreate that in Go Brunch. So when I'm in there in a co-working space or hanging out with whoever in an after party chat, or who knows? Once I get better at it, maybe after I do this master class on Wednesday and I learn so much more of the features, who knows? I might be using it so much more than I've anticipated. I don't know. I love it. The AI is great in it, and it's honestly better than some of the Like it's better than ChatGPT's AI generator by far. You know, like it's a great AI generator in terms of image. It's like right up there with like I would say almost like the Microsoft one. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's very lifelike, and it's inbuilt. Now, this is very important. This is extremely important. Go Brunch has quite a robust, not great, but quite a robust free version. You can have up to 6 people on the call, and you can do a little bit. But they have a lifetime deal, which is $79. And for $79, you can have 200 people in the room. You pay one time. And in that room, you can have these AI generated embeds. There's no limit. Like you can just keep doing it all day. There's no limit. And this is Chris's one. Tell me how you did that, Chris. This is I love it. I just love it.
Yeah, so when you go in Go Brunch, like you see how we have the icons at the bottom of our screen right now, where Keith is in the center, Margaret is to the right, and I'm just to the right of her. Where Margaret is, there's like a little thing that almost looks like a keyhole, and you press that, and it says My Room. And then on the left, over about to the left of where the bar stool is, there's going to be a bunch of little icons. There's one that you press, and it says Room Editor, and it'll pull up a little text box, and you could just type in a prompt. A prompt is just a description. So all I wrote was, give me a Tortola-esque looking beach style bar in the Caribbean that's sunny and beautiful. And, I think I asked for it to put in one of those signs that pointed to like, Hawaii, 3,000 miles or whatever else. It forgot that part, but it got everything else right. I tossed up some music in the top right corner so you can listen to like Jimmy Buffett radio. So what I kind of envision it being, since it's up on my website eventually, say I hit like a good number of followers in a year or so, I would love to be able to have just my followers go to my website and hang out in there, talk to one another, and then I'd be able to pop in and out and be able to be like, hey guys, what's up? And then have that my co-working space with my followers. Then I have another co-working space for my company. And then who knows, I might make a third to do shows kind of very similar to what Margaret does because she does such a good job.
Let's pick up on this idea of the AI generator inside Go Brunch. Like it's unlimited. You can do it live. Do you have some ideas on this, Mike? I know you're always chewing on the use cases. Can you imagine doing a show live and changing the background as you're going?
Probably not. A couple things, by the way. I have the free version. I don't see the extra things that you were talking about, the new features.
But that's not available in the free version.
Yeah, and I also can't, once I've created the room, when I create the room initially, I can use the AI, but I can't change it once I've created the room. So that's a limitation of the free version.
Yeah, obviously the free version is a chance to have a look.
Yep.
And
so to answer your question, what I would most likely do is each of the rooms I would want to create a different like I would create a different purpose. Like I would have, similar to Discord, like you can have voice channels that are different sizes. You can actually set the size. I would do something very similar. I'd have to like a grand meeting hall, and then a more intimate one, and then maybe one that just has like 6 or 4 or something. And then I would have like to Chris's thing, maybe I would have like like a bar, and I would have like a cigar room, and then like I said, like a banquet hall or something, and then a conference type room. And so I make it a little more immersive, but I probably wouldn't do it live. I wouldn't make changes live.
Yeah. So this is very, very important. What I do, to Chris's point, I'll show exactly how I do it. I love going to cafes. That's one thing that is fundamental to my character. Like I just love going to cafes. And there's a cafe near my house that's on the beach. I live near the beach. So I created this room to simulate the coffee shop this is nothing like the actual coffee shop, but it's not bad. It's a relatively similar idea. So I live near the beach, and I love going to cafes. So this site, this image is very, very authentic for me. Extremely authentic. I love cafes. I love the beach. I live near the beach. So if I wanted to send someone here, this would be an authentic experience because it's very similar to where I would meet a real person. In fact, I'm going to show you a bar that I went to recently near my house that actually looks like that. And this was after the event. So I like the idea of, because we're doing shows that are very interactive. So things occur on the show that we wouldn't have thought of beforehand. This is actually the place near my house that I went to recently. I mean, isn't it cool? It's called the Moondog Bar, right? It's like 10 minutes from my house. If you ever come to Melbourne, we'll go there. And so I can create this immersive environment based on real life immersive environments. Like if you come to Melbourne, I'll take you here. The Moondog Bar. It's 10 minutes from my house. Just genius. And this is sort of what you're alluding to, Chris, isn't it? You've done something similar with AI, haven't you?
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to create like a happy space for myself. Like just somewhere that just reminds me of comfort, home, happiness, relaxation. I live on the beach in Maniloking, New Jersey, and so I walk out my front door essentially, and I'm at the ocean, and I love that. But it's freezing cold and windy out, so I go in here, and I feel warm, and I sit next to a heater, and I turn on the Jimmy Buffett, Welcome to Margaritaville, just as cheesy as it can get, and I pretend that I'm in some tourist trap, just getting warm, rather than sitting here freezing in New Jersey.
And this is exactly why I'm doing these shows. Like, let me just compare it to what we've talked about. This is, let me just see if I got it still there. This is Be Connected. It's the Zoom look we're all familiar with. Brilliant. 3 things on the side, people's faces. We're all familiar with that look. Everyone has done this. Everyone, even my dad, who's 88 years old. Everyone has been on one of these calls, good, bad, and the ugly. Microsoft Teams does it in a slightly different way by giving the option to have avatars. Pretty cool, but limited, and you have to be a Microsoft user. And now Go Brunch gives you this idea of a completely immersive environment that you can completely control. Like the use case is very obvious. Like Chris made this with AI. I made mine with AI. It's a completely obvious use case. And this show that I'm doing now is just about all these different options. It's bloody genius. I want to just mention that they do have this online version, and I love it. And we've covered a lot of ground. What I might do though, we've been chatting about 3 hours. I might give everyone a chance to wrap up. We do, as I said, have the option for you to join our Discord group if you want to do that. I have got a show tomorrow, and please join me there. Where is Keith Today is the name of that site if you want to go and have a look at that. Where is Keith Today? It'll give you the direct link to my shows this week. The 2 shows that we're actually doing this week are one live streaming for beginners is tomorrow, and the Go Brunch show is going to be on Wednesday. So I'm just about at my limit. I might just give everyone a chance to wrap up. What do you think of the main points, Chris, you've talked about and that you got from this show?
I guess the main points that I got from this show is I definitely want to take a look into that Zoom thing. That's my big number one takeaway. I was taking notes furiously. I was looking in the private chat, and Ollie had some great points. It got my gears turning. You know me, I'm a tinkerer, so I have a new project to tinker with. That's my number one takeaway. And the number 2 takeaway I would say is just the learning and the teaching and the communities that, we're all building simultaneously here. Like it just seems like they're all going to mesh in the end. and it's just going to be, we're all coming at it from different angles, and I'm glad so many people are on so many different platforms exploring so many different options. To go back to the point you made in the show about don't have all your eggs in one basket. So the more super connectors we have, the more allies we have building our networks, the more people we could platform on these shows and help get people recognition who join through the audience, people we can help out. I just see this just all going in a positive direction. So that my big takeaways are play with Zoom and build the community.
Oh, perfect. I love what you've said there about eggs in one basket. About 2 weeks ago, I got a message from LinkedIn saying, "Hey, you're starting to play with tech again. We think you're a robot. We're going to ban you." I said, "Well, I'm not a robot, and please don't ban me because I've got a show tomorrow, and I've been promoting it for 2 weeks." And I just had this feeling in my belly that, oh no, I'm going to go and promote I've got 150 people coming tomorrow, and and then I'm going to have to tell them if they ban me. I'm going to have to tell them, well, I'm so sorry. LinkedIn's decided to ban me for no good reason. And now I've got to try and find something else. Now, trying to find something else on a standing start is going to be very, very difficult. So this is the exact reason why I'm building my Discord room. Like, I have a very functioning Discord server. It's got 266 members in it. It's completely free to join. So if LinkedIn fails, I can always go to Discord. I know that straight away. No problems. It's already there. I also have a highly functioning Go Brunch room, which I can go to straight away. No trouble. Right. This is very, very, very important. Like, this is probably my number one message I mention every day. You got to have a backup. What do you think, Margaret? What are the main things you've learnt? And I'm guessing Go Brunch is your backup now, or maybe your Go Brunch is your main site. And do you have a backup other than that?
I think I use LinkedIn and GoBrunch simultaneously, but I've been on Discord too because I've gone to your rooms, but I've also gone to Shadow's Pub. She's got one too, and then but I'm mostly I'm on GoBrunch, but I do post and hang out on LinkedIn and stuff. So yeah, but as I use Discord. I don't really have a whole lot of other stuff. Me personally, I like to focus on very little and make it like really phenomenal and get really familiar with it and master it and then move on to something else. Right now,
I'm going to do my hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Thank you, Keith.
Hallelujah, Figaro. Hallelujah, Figaro. Here I am singing in the Grand Canyon. Singing in the Grand Canyon.
I thought you were going to start singing in the, or what is it called? Dancing in the rain.
Dancing in the rain.
Singing in the rain.
Dancing in the rain. I'm gonna do an echo, so I'll do an echo.
Are you just hearing me echo? Like I only have. It must be my laptop. I'm so sorry.
You don't hear the echo?
No, I don't hear it.
Okay.
Is everybody hearing that?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. It must be me. And I wonder if it's my network. That must be what it is. Or we have multiple.
Are you on a laptop?
I am on the laptop. I'm on the HP, but I'm also wondering if I'm streaming from different devices on my network if this happens. Oh, I just thought of that. Ding.
Yeah. We'll try that.
But thank you so much for having me. It was great to see
worries.
Lane from BConnect and Chris. Nice room, and all you guys. Take care.
No worries.
Have a good night.
Lane, tell us your takeaways from today and what you've learned and what you're going to take away, and give us a bit of an understanding of what you're doing.
Yeah, so I mean, there's obviously different platforms, and for most people, it's kind of to each their own. Whoever likes the platform for whatever they're doing, and so I've used the Microsoft Teams. I've used Go Brunch. I do like definitely a lot of the features of Go Brunch. Of course, Be Connected is the one that I'm promoting, but they each have their own purpose. Like we said, we were talking about Go Brunch perhaps is a great option for less people. Be Connected offers the more people with some of the premium options. So it just kind of depends on what it is that someone's looking for, the features and benefits that they want, and then there's different platforms that can help with any of those options. So there's a lot of great options out there. It's just a matter of what works for you and what you're doing.
Yeah, I love it. And we all talk about the shows or the sites with equal passion. What do you think, Michael? I'll let you bring us home. We covered a lot of ground. You've asked a lot of questions. What are your main takeaways from today? And are you giving yourself some homework?
My main takeaway is to really appreciate Keith singing into an echo chamber. That was very enjoyable.
He should do a song or a concert with that.
Oh yeah, well I actually like his singing voice, so we'll have to talk offline. Maybe we can get an act together or something. But no, I was not at all aware of BConnect. I've used and I'm in the midst of testing out Go Brunch. Like I said, I think there's a bit of a use case for each one of these. This BConnect with courses is very interesting. It's something I'm going to think about. So yeah, like I said, I've been very involved on Discord. I really love the community building capability of Discord, but I understand your difficulties with getting a community together. And communities kind of go and come anyway. It's just they sort of develop a life of their own. But I'm really liking this BConnected idea of not just it's absolutely I'd be using it as a replacement for Zoom, but like I said, this capability of these courses I really like. If we're going to monetize, right? And I don't know if you're moving in that direction, Keith, but I could just see building out some courses and monetizing that way as well. So I will definitely be checking all of these out and testing them and testing them with other folks too. I've already tried to get some folks to help test Go Brunch with me for other applications. So
we covered so much ground. We've been chatting 3 hours. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play a little bit of music to end the show in a very professional way. And I'll just work through the slides and a few of the funky sounds, which is like an outro. And you guys enjoy your night. We actually have quite a few shows coming up in the next few weeks, a few days. If you want to know more about what I'm doing, please go to whereiskeithtoday.com. I do 3 shows a week. I love it. As you can tell, I'm into it. We've been chatting 3 hours. I might as well just go and get some lunch, and I might even go for a walk because my body is sort of screaming to me. I better get out of this chair. So I'm going to just play some music, and you guys take care, and we'll see you around. We'll see you around the traps, and I'm just going to find my little funky soundtrack for my show, and we'll see you later.
Super grateful for you, Keith.
You've been listening to Buy Me a Coffee Monday with Keith Keller in Melbourne, Australia.